being recorded to the cloud. So thank you all for being here. And Cheryl, would you like to take roll, please?
Yes. Rock. Rock.
Here.
There we go. Armando. Not yet. John Barbera.
Here.
Mary.
Here.
Adrianita.
Here.
Braun.
Here.
John Maglio and Dixon are excused. Cynthia.
Cynthia, you need to unmute.
Oh,
Okay,
I see her.
We can
I
see
see
her.
her.
Okay.
Yeah. Lee,
Yes.
Jan. Well, I saw Jan. I see Jan's picture, so I'll assume she's here. Melanie.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Alec.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Chris. Chris. Sorry. He was here.
His name is up on the screen. Chris, can you unmute?
Okay, well, he's here. Yeah, I see him. Okay, so you have quorum. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Let me just say something real quick. I'd like to thank Cheryl for her time with us. She is looking to move on to bigger and better things, and we really would like to thank her for all the help that she has given us, and we are going to miss her. Cheryl, I can't tell you what we're going to do without you. I just hope that whoever we pull out of the air is going to be half as capable as you are. You've been really terrific, and we really enjoy your input, and we really appreciate your efforts, and we're going to miss you. So,
Well, thank you so much, Melanie. Don't forget to adjust it.
So, Ray, I just want to add that I don't think people realize behind the scenes how much Cheryl does for us. It helps us prepare for the meeting and research things. And it's not too often you can find a minute taker who has taken all the training that she has to truly understand how a neighborhood council functions. So she's more than just a minute taker, and she's a community member, and it's a huge loss for us. So thank you, Cheryl.
yeah.
Thank you all very much. I will miss you as well. I'm sure I'll still be around.
Terrific. Thank you. All right. Let's move down to agenda item number 3, public comment on non-agenda items. The public is invited to speak on issues of general interest during the public comment period. Comments during this specific agenda item will be heard only. Public comment shall be limited to 2 minutes per speaker unless modified by the chair. The chair may establish a maximum length of time for all public comment speakers as needed. The public is requested to dial *9 if you are on the telephone, or raise a hand if you are on a computer when prompted by the presiding officer to address the board on any non-agenda items before the board takes an action on any item. Anyway, so non-agenda items, anybody? I see one hand for call in user number 1 and Maria. And so call in user number 1. I don't know who you are, but you will be unmuted. Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Richard Hopp. I sent a inquiry on February, I believe February 2nd, regarding all the broken links on your website. It appears nobody's even acknowledged it or even got back to me on that. Okay, that's your standard operation procedure. So tonight I sent the Public Records Act request asking who do I contact. It appears nobody's contacting me, and you got a lot of broken hyperlinks on your website and a couple other things. And That's one thing that's not always good, is having broken hyperlinks. And I had to go all the way to a Public Records Act request. If I don't get a proper response timely, I'll just go to a grievance and we'll just keep escalating the issue. I don't like being discounted in that capacity regarding this type of non-transparency, and it appears that maybe this board doesn't care. You should probably contact your Dunn representative. They'll be the best parasite and mislead this board as positively as possible. They'll make sure they'll talk to you offline and say, well, I need to talk to the city attorney. So the best thing you should probably do is not talk to Dunn and that parasite representative, and fix the hyperlinks, or at least attempt to. It's a very simple process. I sent you all the hyperlinks that were broken, and it appears that this board wants to discount me. So that's fine. I don't take it personally or negatively. So make sure to call 211 that I'm being a bully right now. Thank you.
Maria, you're next.
Hi, board. Could you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Maria. I work with Neighborhood Housing Services of Los Angeles County. I'm just doing a quick plug of our services. We are a nonprofit lender and community developer. We essentially help folks realize their dream of home ownership. We also help folks with financial counseling and mortgage assistance for folks who are having a hard time paying for rent or their mortgages during these difficult times. And so if you have residents who need our services, please call us at 213-381-2862, or you could all visit us at nhslacounty.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray, could you please make Cheryl a co-host so she can share the screen?
I've already made her co-host.
Oh, okay. She said she couldn't share the screen.
I'll double check, but I did it a while ago.
I hadn't checked in the last 2 minutes. Hold on. I'll get there in just a sec. PDF. There we go.
Okay, Ray?
Yep, got it. And let me see. It doesn't look like we have anyone else wishing to make a public comment at this particular time. So we'll move on to number 4, agenda item number 4, and that's public officials report. I saw Ryan there, and Octaviano, and who else did we see there? Oh, Joanna from the mayor's office is there also. So how about let's go with Ryan. Ryan, are you going to make a comment on non-agenda items? Because I know we had asked if you would possibly make a statement on one of the agenda items.
Is he unmuted?
Okay, perfect. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
I didn't really have anything for any comments on non-agenda items, Ray, but I do have, statements I would like to make. I believe on was the council member's motion to arm park rangers, the community impact statement that's on your agenda tonight.
Great. Okay, then we'll come back to you then.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Also, Joanna, you are there. Let me see. I know you're there. I saw your name there. There you are.
Can you guys hear me?
Gotcha.
Oh, perfect. Well, hello, good evening. just want to give you guys a quick update on COVID, because I've been getting a lot of questions and questions coming from San Pedro. So I just want to give you guys reminders and also just answer any questions that you guys might have. So really quickly on vaccines, as of today, we have nearly 300 locations throughout the county of LA administering vaccines. Here in the city of LA, we have 5. So if you're, again, just because I have been getting questions about who's eligible, there's only 3 groups that are eligible, and those groups include health workers, nursing homes, staff, and like anyone inside the nursing homes. And also the third group is folks that are 65 years and older. So if you are, if you're under one of those categories, I do encourage you to go either to vaccinela.org to, give me one second, I want to make sure, because there was a bit of a change. Give me one second. Okay, give me one second. That website, again, to go get vaccinated is vaccinatelacounty.com. So vaccinatelacounty.com. And if anyone doesn't have a phone number, if you guys can contact, the phone number is 833-540-0473. Again, it's 833-540-0473. And that hotline number is open from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. So we really do need the help of everyone to spread the word. I was on the phone with someone from coastal San Pedro, I think about half an hour, and she's, I think, 67 years old. She was really upset because she said her friends didn't know about the vaccines. So we really do need your help. If you guys can make sure that you're telling your friends, your family members, that if they live in the county of LA and they're 65 years and older, they are now eligible to get vaccinated. And then I do want to also just give you guys an update. I've been getting questions regarding our dock workers. So last week, council voted to prioritize dock workers. And on Friday, the mayor did sign that council file. I do want to just remind everyone that it's up to the state. So it has been approved by council and the mayor, and has been signed by the mayor. It's just we need direction from the authority from the state to give us the green light. So I'll keep you guys updated as more information does come down from the state. And then really quickly, just on eviction, the eviction moratorium has been extended through June 30th. And then in terms of immigration, there's a lot of information, a lot of news coming from various sources. So we did put together in the mayor's office a website for anyone that want to identify legal services, our notary, also like helpful tips, and also to find if a trusted lawyer is accredited or not. That website is stepforward.lacity.org. Again, it's stepforward.lacity.org. And then lastly, I just wanted, it's tax season. So the mayor has launched a free tax prep initiative to provide families with free tax preparation services. And that website is freetaxprepla.com. So I know that was a lot of information. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share a link where I basically highlight a couple of information that I've mentioned and more. And it also has my contact information if you guys have any questions for me. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. And I hope you're feeling better. I hope you sound like you're well, but I'm glad to have you back on board, Joanna.
Ray, we have a hand raised.
Um,
Melanie.
oh, okay, Melanie, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. Joanna, question for you. I doubt you'll be able to answer this, but if we're talking about trying to get the kids back to school and all, why are we prioritizing dock workers before teachers? I'm really concerned about that. as well as we have a large population of cancer patients, immune suppressed patients, and the disabled keep getting pushed from 1C all the way. They were 1B, now they're 1C, and now they're being pushed further down the line. Those people are the gravest at risk, those people that are immune compromised and cancer patients and diabetics. Those people are the high risk people of COVID. And why they are being pushed all the way down the list, I have no clue, but it's inappropriate and it's discriminatory.
Thank you, Melanie. We thank you for that. No, we are definitely in the briefings that the mayor hosts weekly briefings. He has said that he has sent out letters to the state to ensure that, to ask that we prioritize our teachers, our educators, because we do want we want our students to go back to school. So that's something that has been in the mayor has been pushing for. But we also understand that, dock workers, and in terms of folks that are, because our dock workers are getting hit very hard. In terms of our folks that are with disabilities, we're working internally because, like you said, some people might not have transportation. So we're working on how can we alleviate that. So we're discussing the possibility of providing transportation for folks that are not able to get to these sites where
It's not a question of transportation for a lot of disabled, a lot of cancer patients. They're just immune compromised.
Melanie, can we let Joanna finish her comment and then?
Right.
No, thank you, Ray, and thank you. I do want to say we are advocating for a lot of, for our educators to get get prioritized, as well as folks with disabilities. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, the mayor did sign that council motion that was passed last week. But at the end of the day, it is up to the state. We can say, hey, yes, we want these people and these other groups, but the state will ultimately make that final decision. So we continue to push. We're not forgetting about our educators. We're not forgetting about our folks that are, our group that are disabled. We're pushing for them, but unfortunately, we don't make that final decision. It's actually up to the state.
Okay. Thank you. We have one attendee with their hands up, and that's calling user 1. I believe that's Mr. Hop. Mr. Hop, would you like to make a comment? Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you very much. It'll be my last comment for tonight. To the board member that asked that very direct question, you should be ashamed of yourself on accepting that answer. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like. That person that spoke for the agency, that was disgusting. Do you notice it was vague, ambiguous, and overbroad? And she always said the word we. She never stated, well, how about you put your concerns in writing so I can forward it on? She never did that. She just gave you a dog and pony show. I find her as a disgrace. She's a person that's on the bottom of my feet. How dare she dismiss that most poignant question? And she didn't say who at the state was making the decisions. She wanted to keep this board as ignorant as possible. I could care less if her feelings are hurt. That was just disgusting what she did to this board. But she's a bureaucrat, and that's what bureaucrats do. They're apathetic and they're pathetic. I feel very sorry for her, how she spoke to you. That was disgusting.
Okay, thank you. Next call, we have another hand, and it's identified as 170534. Whoever that is, unmute yourself. Hello, caller.
They're unmuted.
Yeah. Hello, caller.
That's not me, huh? Pete Burmeister?
Is that you, Pete?
Probably is, I don't know.
Yes, it is because the speaker is moving. Pete, did you have a comment to make to
Yeah,
Joanna?
real short. You know, my comment is they want to get rid of all those people. They have a problem, health problem, and old age, so they don't have to pay Social Security to them anymore. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that is the last one. Okay. Can we, let's move over, I believe Octaviano, you're up next. Octaviano?
You should be able to unmute now, Octaviana.
Okay, I think I got through. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I can't expect the whole board to respond, right?
I said good.
Oh, thank you, Lori.
I was muted. I forgot.
No problem. So I'm Octaviano Rios with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Happy February, everybody. I was asked to cut off my election update because you're gonna go deep into detail with it later on in the agenda. So I'll be glad to move on to my other items. I did want to, just in case it wasn't mentioned, if you're looking to run for a board as a candidate, there are a few candidate information sessions coming up. One is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. The next one is February 27th at 9 a.m. and then in March 13th at 9 a.m. So just keep those dates in mind.
I'm sorry, Octaviano, I hit mute by mistake. Please unmute again.
Oops.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's the mute unmute dance that we do sometimes here. Where did I leave off so I don't waste too much time?
And you were giving the dates for the training.
Oh, okay, got it. So real quick, just the candidate information sessions slated. The next one is Tuesday, February 9th, which is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Then there's one on Saturday, February 27th at 9 a.m. And then the next one after that is Saturday, March 13th at 9 a.m. Funding training for financial officers. If you're looking to update your funding training as a financial officer or otherwise, as a board member, the next one is tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then the next one after that is February 23rd at 10 a.m. Now, if you're a community organization interested in tapping into some of the NC funding through the Neighborhood Purpose Grants program, the next MPG workshop hosted by the City Clerk's Office is February 18th at 10 a.m. and that's Thursday. So community organizations are welcome to attend, individuals, of course, stakeholders, and board members. Let's see here. We are asking the board, and I believe you have that on the agenda, or correct me if I'm wrong, the regional grievance portal or the regional grievance panel. We're looking for, as a department, an appointee on each board to serve on a regional grievance panel. And I know the deadline came and went, unfortunately. So we're kind of pushing it out again because I think there was some miscommunication. And some confusion, quite honestly, because I know the city clerk's elections division was looking for grievance panelists as well for those folks that filed challenges on elections. This particular one is to serve on a grievance panel for challenges against a neighborhood council. So two distinct roles, and for the grievance panel, the regional grievance panel, it serves on an annual basis, whereas the other one is just seasonal, just for elections. So if you need any more information, let me know. I can certainly provide that to you all. There's some other details I didn't want to spend time on for your meeting. This just in, Zoom. There's some updates. So if you're sort of familiar with Zoom or very familiar with Zoom, you know that sometimes you have to upgrade it in order to take advantage of some of its new features. So some of the new features that they've added so far is enhanced reactions. So I guess there's more smiley faces and other reactions. Ooh, here's a new one you would appreciate that I know in the past a few folks had raised as an issue is co-hosts and hosts can now raise their hands with this upgraded feature or upgraded Zoom. And then you're also able to take advantage of better virtual background capabilities. So, and then the next one after that, well, there was one upgrade January 11th, and then the next one after that just recently passed February 1st. So there's more information in Zoom as to the how to upgrade it, but if you have any challenges, please reach out and we'll walk you through it. We do have a date for the Congress of Neighborhoods, as a save the date. It's Saturday, September 25th, 2021. As you know, it's a very nice event for board members and stakeholders to attend, to meet other board members, other community activists, network with elected officials and department representatives to discuss community needs and resources. So if you need any more details about it, or if you'd like to participate in the decision-making and the planning of the Neighborhood Council Congress for September 25th, email nccongressla@gmail.com, nccongressla@gmail.com, and with your specific inquiries or any general inquiries you may have about it. And I believe I reported on these last three items, but just in case, I want to make sure that I shared it with the board because they're important. We do have a special funds account for our neighborhood councils to tap into to hire interpreters. So if you haven't taken advantage of it, especially now when some of our neighborhood councils are looking to engage non-English speakers during elections and recruit, diversify, et cetera, their participation, you know, you're allowed to use your own NC funds to hire an interpreter through the approved vendors. But if you don't want to use your funds, you can certainly consider tapping into our special fund. All you really need to do is send us the details of your next meeting where you would like an interpreter to attend and assist those non-English speakers, and email those details to ncsupport@lacity.org. And the coordination, all the details will be handled by the department in coordination with the contact staff person, and then we get billed directly as a department. So there's some funds there. So, but it is a first come, first serve for our NCs, and it's a limited amount of money. Robert's Rules of Order education course. Just a reminder that each board member has their own unique account to take advantage of some free courses on parliamentary procedure and rules of order. But if you haven't taken advantage of it, I urge you to do so. Not only as a current chair of a committee, but if you're aspiring to maybe in the near future run for the board, as well as nominate yourself for a chair position of a committee. These resources, both video and in writing, may help you in improving some of those skills to run a meeting. And as we all know, it's not easy to run a neighborhood council meeting. There's a lot of moving parts to it. And now we have Zoom, so that adds to the fun, right? And there's topics on there as well as how to navigate technology and hosting an online meeting. So, and last but not least, Canva account. Reminder, you have a free account, one free account for the whole board, not for each board member, but all board members can access it. If you don't have your login and password, let me know. I know that I talked to Diana not so long ago in her committee with regards to maybe using Canva to develop some backgrounds, and I recently showed her my background on how you can promote the timeline for your elections, any other relevant information about your board for candidates and for voter engagement. So that's the Canva account. And that concludes my report, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Octaviano. We have a couple hands up. I'll start with Cynthia, and then next will be Diana.
All right.
Cynthia?
Hi, Octaviano.
Hello.
On the first thing you spoke about for the election and the dates to learn more about the process of it, will that be given to us in emails like you did before?
You mean if you didn't get to participate, would you be getting something afterwards via email?
No, getting an email telling us the date and the time and everything. That was done before. I was wondering if you're doing it again, or if we
Oh, you
have to
mean-
go into the city website and then look it up.
Yeah, if you want me to email you, and I usually email the board after the board meetings with some of the relevant dates, I can certainly do that. I know I've done that in the last few months. So you're probably, if you've read my emails, you're probably sick of seeing the same information, but it's worth, resharing so many times because, it's an ongoing process engaging and informing the public. So I can certainly share that information, but if you have a specific need, a specific detail that you need me to share or look up, I can certainly do so as well. And I think you have the city clerk's representative, your elected administrator here as well, that can get into the granular of operations and logistics. Sometimes I get stuck with some of those details on elections, but I learn as I go, and I'm able to field those questions once they come up. So,
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Cynthia?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Diana?
Okay, well, first let me say that Cynthia, and everyone else, the information on the candidate information sessions is actually on the calendar on our website. And so if you go in there, you can find the link to sign up for those information sessions. So
Okay,
that's
thank
probably
you.
the easiest and most direct way for people to do that if they're interested. I have two questions for Octaviano. The first one has to do with Zoom that you mentioned, Octaviano. And my question is that once Zoom got at one of the upgrades, they started requiring people to put in an email address. And I'm wondering, like for my committee meetings, if I wanted to get the email addresses of people who had attended, how would I do that?
Well, for attendees,
Yes.
it all depends. Ray is the holder of, or your president's the holder of the main account. I don't know if that information's captured in the account. I can certainly work with Ray to find that out. If it's a feature that's been activated. I know that some folks participate without an account, correct? So, short of asking everybody, hey, just send me your email so I know that you attended. But for outreach purposes, right, I think that might be a good question to kind of follow up on. And I'll work with Ray and see if we can get a better answer for you later on.
Yeah, what's happening now, which is different than the past, is when you come on as an attendee, you're required to give your email address to sign in. So that's the question. The other question has to do with the training that you mentioned, which I understand is available to non-board members. However, we have committee chairs like myself who are not board members, and I have a couple of committee members who would like to take some of that training. How do we do that?
Which training specifically, like the funding and the ethics, or the parliamentary procedure?
The parliamentary procedure, and I can't remember what else you mentioned. There was something else you mentioned. Not the funding and ethics. No, those are for board members.
There's the candidate information session, which is a type of training, but it will. No, not that one.
No.
Okay. So
I'm talking about the training that you said was available now in a special account for board members, like parliamentary procedure.
Oh, okay, yes. So the rules of order, the
Yes.
education courses. So
Yes.
those are currently just available for board members. But I know that some neighborhood councils, including yours, have stakeholders like you that are appointed to chair committees. So let me bring that up to our leadership team to see if that's something that we can look into in the future to to open up, because obviously we have some very active, seasoned, experienced stakeholders that that we embrace, right, as neighborhood councils to help us lead some of our committees and activities. So why not have them get more training, right, and access some of that. So right now it's just for board members, just to be clear, and only board members have a login and password. But I can advocate to see if we can get stakeholders access to that, or at least maybe, and I'm just thinking out loud here, and maybe I shouldn't, but maybe those that are officially appointed as chairs of a committee, right?
Or maybe stakeholders that the board chair says should have access, because I have a member of my committee who would like to have the training as well.
Oh, okay. It's aspiring, right? Aspiring chairs.
Yes, exactly. Would be helpful.
Okay, I'll take your suggestion to the powers to be, and then circle back to see how we can assist.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doesn't look like we have any more from the board, so I'll go over to the attendees, and it looks like Phyllis Losorelli. I hope I said that right. Unmute yourself and ask Octaviano your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is actually Joe Losorelli from the LA City Park Rangers.
Oh, okay, Joe.
Yeah, how are you guys?
We're doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, I was asked to come and speak to you folks tonight. I don't know if I reached you on the agenda yet. But anyway, I am present.
Okay, Joe, that's really good to know. We haven't hit that agenda item quite yet, so knowing that you're there, we'll pick you up when we're at the agenda. Unless you have a question for Octaviano.
No, not at all. Just wanted to answer any questions that you folks may have had about the Army or the Rangers.
Okay, real good. We'll do that. So we'll let you know when we hit that agenda item. We're not
Okay.
quite there yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry there. I just got on. I had
Yeah.
another Zoom meeting I had to go to.
No problem.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, Octaviano, that looks like that's it.
All right. Thank you. I was ready to just log off here. Thank you for clarifying. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be around for the remainder of the meeting.
Okay, sounds great. Take care.
Mr. Chair, we have a question from an attendee who's asking why the attendees cannot see the list of all the other attendees. And to my knowledge, that's not the way Zoom works. The attendees do not have access to see who's attending the meeting. Only they can see the panelists. Is that your understanding too?
That's how I understand it, yeah.
Okay.
Octaviano, if you're still on, would you like to address that issue, or would you like to?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really have to, but just really quickly, if I may, Mr. Chair, I think the format that you have currently is a webinar format, which allows folks to see who's running the meeting, as well as have more control over moving the agenda forward. And then there's other formats, of course, depending on the type of meeting. But for neighborhood councils, the department has recommended webinar setting, and that gives a little bit more of a restriction as to and restrictions, but also prevents folks from just muting and unmuting, which has been a challenge in the past. So it comes with there's goods and there's bads with different formats. So I think little by little, all of Zoom is going to be learning from everybody, including our neighborhood councils. And we've met with Zoom before about some of these challenges, but for now, webinar is the way to go. And those are the features that are allowed for now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Looks next item on our agenda.
No. You aren't we doing government officials?
Well, government officials was.
Okay, Augie's on the line.
Oh, is he? Okay, I missed. Sorry, Augie, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm unmuted, I think.
You are.
Augie Bezmalinovich from the Port of Los Angeles. Next Board of Harbor Commission meetings. Thursday, February 18th, followed by a meeting on March 4th. Also on Thursday, they both start at 9 a.m. and they're both via video conference. You could go to our website to see our meetings, www.portoflosangeles.org. The agenda is posted almost a week in advance, so if you'd like to take a look. And also you could submit your public comments, usually in writing, or you could call them in. We prefer that you do that a day in advance. And cruise ships are back in. If you've seen them, they're back in, and they're going through some, they're doing some services and stuff like that, getting prepared hopefully for the springtime, and cruise ships will be back doing what they do. The Port Grant Program, we anticipate that to kick off March 1st. So we plan on having all the stuff online for you March 1st. I'll give another report in my March presentation, giving you all the details on that. And Fleet Week, we hope to have it back this year for Labor Day weekend, and we'll let you know as soon as we find out. Basically, that's it. That concludes my report.
All right.
Unless there's any questions.
And Augie, my apologies for missing your name. When I made my scan earlier, I didn't see it. So sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, it looks like we have Gwen. You have your hand up?
Yes. Hi, Augie. There was some inquiries as to all the foghorns in the recent days. Can you explain the multitude of foghorns in the wee morning hours?
You're talking about foghorns in the wee morning hours? What are you talking about?
Ships, a lot of ships. Sorry, not foghorns, ships. I'm sorry.
What about the ships?
In the last few days, there's been a significant amount of loud horns, of passing through. I was wondering if the activity was explained. There was an explanation for the increased activity, because it was significant. People were commenting on it all week.
A couple of things I could tell you. We're also hammering in some piles down at the former Ports of Call site. You could hear some boom, boom, and it's echoing throughout San Pedro. We got about 15 piles in, 15 out of 22. That noise is going to be finished in about a week or so, and that noise will be done. Foghorns, I mean, the ships, I could just say if it's foggy, the ships, blast their horns, or if they're backing out, I mean, they're regulated. Like I know 3 shorts and 1 long if you're backing up, stuff like that. I mean, they use their horns to communicate with other ships. If you notice, we have about 30 ships out on anchor, out in the outer harbor, or out on sea. So, they use those things based on, Coast Guard regulations and things like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if those ships been out there are now being moved in at a faster clip, that they're really moving in and out, or because it seemed to be a lot more traffic, or something was going on.
Yeah, probably. I really don't know. I have the specifics, but the foghorns are being used, to communicate with other ships, and they're, abiding by Coast Guard regulations and things like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It looks like Diana has her hand up. Diana?
Hi, Augie.
Hi, Diana. Let me guess, North Gaffey Street or Front Street?
You got it. Is it still going out to bid in April? That's promised.
Front Street, you know the answers to these. And I don't know, I forgot what I told you about North Gaffey Street, but Front Street construction starts in December of this year. What do we say about North Gaffey Street?
Going out to bid in April.
There we go. 6 months after that. So what's 6 months? October.
So is it still going out to bid in April was my question.
Yeah, as far as I know, that was the last I told you. When was the last time I told you that? About a month ago?
No more, longer than that. That's why I'm checking. If you could just check for me, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Augie, thank you.
Have a wonderful night. Thanks, Ray. Bye.
Take care. Let's see, now, the next item is our budget representatives, Melanie and or Lori. Any updates?
Nothing at this time, Ray.
Okay. And budget advocate report, do we have someone from budget advocate? No? Okay. First responders, I did see Mr. Or Senior Lead Officer Dan Brown. Unmute yourself, Mr. Dan Brown, if you're here.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
There you are.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, as Ray said, I'm Officer Dan Brown, the LAPD. As far as the crime report goes for January 2021, very comparable to last year. We had a total of 66 reported Part 1 crimes this month. Last year it was 68. So as far as the changes go, we're seeing a continued trend of a very large and concerning increase in stolen vehicles. That's the biggest problem that we have going right now in the area that I cover in San Pedro, the Northwest San Pedro area. January 2021, we had 17 vehicles stolen this last month. Last year, same time frame, it was only 8. But the increase in the grand theft autos occurred towards I think more or less the second half of last year. And like I said, we've been averaging about, I don't know, between 15 and 19 stolen cars a month, which is significantly higher than in years past. So I'm not sure exactly what's driving the trend, but it's definitely concerning. Also, we had 21 vehicle burglaries or thefts from motor vehicle. Last year, there were only 19 for the same time period. So about a 10% increase there as well. On the flip side, what we are seeing a big decrease in, and this is also a trend from last year that's carrying over so far, and that is a big decrease in reported simple thefts. This includes things like shoplifting or unattended property theft, porch pirate things. Those are down 64% this year. It says we had 9 that were reported, and last year there were 25 reported. So last year, I remember, and the holiday season before that, so going back to like 2019's holiday season, we were getting hammered with the porch pirate thing, you know, the Amazon or other delivery service packages that were being left on doorsteps. I know I got tons of those reports. I hit meetings and neighborhood watch meetings and this council hard about reaching out to your neighbors and friends and family to help watch your packages and make sure they don't sit out there long. Also, I know some of the delivery services have done some things to do like a safer drop off. They have drop boxes now, and they'll let you drop it inside your door or your backyard as an alternative to try to combat that. I don't know if those services are being utilized more in friends and family, or if it's just not being reported more, but whatever it looks like, it's trending in a positive direction. So I hope we can keep that in the same direction as far as a lot fewer thefts with that regard. Aside from that, we had a few more aggravated assaults this year. We had 9. Last year there were 6. A couple of those are domestic related. But as far as homicides, there were no reported homicides. There was 1 rape. There was 1 last year in the same time period, so not a lot of change there. Robberies were the same, 3 last year, 3 this year. So kind of the same everywhere. The only changes we're really seeing, like I said, big increase in GTAs, little increase in cars getting broken into, and then the big decrease in theft for an overall crime drop of 2 crimes, or about 3%. As far as notable incidents this last month, to kind of harp on that GTA theme, we had a car get stolen out of Target's parking lot a few weeks ago. It was a case where a woman accidentally left her keys in her car, and her car locked while she went into shop. When she returned to her car, she found that it was missing. Usually I harp on you guys not to leave valuables in your car. Things like, you know, obviously purse, wallets, money, electronics. But in this case, it kind of helped in the sense that she left her iPad in the vehicle as well. And she was able to log into her Find My Device app and let the officers know where her iPad was pinging. And they were able to locate the stolen car and apprehend the driver. It seemed like it was just a crime of opportunity. It was a homeless male in his 60s, I think. Yeah, and he just found the unlocked car and saw the keys and took off with it. But it resulted in her getting her car back right away. But again, we got to do better about not leaving our keys and not leaving cars unlocked. Also, there was a very notable incident that might be on a lot of people's minds. You may have heard about it. There was an infant who was found dead under the Welcome Bridge over there in Gaffey by the 110 freeway off ramp. I just spoke with the lead investigator on that case. It appears at this point, based on the autopsy so far, that the baby they never took a breath. She didn't have any oxygen in her lungs. It indicates that she was likely born dead, stillborn, in other words. So a lot of people were thinking the baby got murdered or dumped there or something, but the investigation is still ongoing. So it's not a closed case by any means, but it's not being investigated as a homicide. It looks more like an individual with a drug problem that was more or less staying under there, who gave birth under there, stillbirth, and then just did not seek help or notify the authorities of any kind. It was just a private citizen who was over there doing their own thing, trying just to clean up trash, and discovered it and notified us. But like I said, that's still ongoing, but all indications are right now that it's not being investigated as a murder per se. And that's about all I have to report. I'll open it up for any specific questions that anybody might have.
Okay. Thank you. We have one hand up, and it is, let me see, who is that? It looks like it's Melanie. Melanie, go ahead.
Dan, any information on last night at Home Depot, the expired man, the guy that passed away?
Yeah, I've met that man a couple times before. He was an older guy. I think he was 70.
He was homeless?
Yeah, he was homeless. He was living in his truck there. Home Depot let him stay in the parking lot. I think it was like Friday night or Saturday night, I think. Saturday. It was Saturday. I just know that another homeless gal that he was acquainted with went over to check on him. She had seen him earlier in the day and he was fine. She came in to go hang out with him around I'd say 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night on I believe it was Saturday, and found him just unresponsive. At first she thought he was sleeping, but he wouldn't come to, and she notified us, but he had already been dead for some time because rigor mortis had set in. So he had at least been dead for a few hours. But he was an older guy. I don't know his full health history, but there was no signs of foul play. That much I can say for now. The coroner was notified, so they'll conduct some sort of investigation and determine if it appears natural or if there was some other cause. But as far as we know right now, there's no indications that there was anything other than a natural death over there.
So it wasn't the red Mustang over there? People were saying that
I think he had a red Mustang. He had two cars, I think, but he lived in his truck. I think that's what he was near. He was near his truck that he stayed in, but he did have a red car as well. I don't know if it was a Mustang.
Truck there and a red Mustang.
Yeah, I think he had both.
Okay.
Okay. I don't see any other hands up, Dan.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here today. Take care of yourself.
Yes, sir. You got it. You guys have a good night. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Melanie, do we have a CPAD report?
It was dark. The first one will be this month.
Okay. All right. So we will now have our next agenda item, which is our presentations. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about neighborhood council elections. We have Diana, Braun, and also Robertino. Lori, could you promote Robertino?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Robertino should now be
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Diana, did you want to show the video first?
Yeah, I was waiting for Ray to tell me it was time to start talking. You ready for it, Ray?
Yeah, I thought maybe that was what I
Oh,
was
okay.
talking about when I said it's your turn, so
Great.
go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we have a little video that we're going to show to kick this off. So as soon as Cheryl can bring that
Working
up.
on it.
So we're going to talk about the upcoming neighborhood council elections.
Cheryl's not entirely certain this is going to work, but she's going to give it a whirl.
If it doesn't, I can try, Cheryl.
It's just, I don't know about the audio is my concern.
If it doesn't, we'll start with Robertina while you're trying to do that. Well,
Okay, hold on.
There you go. But we don't hear it.
That's what I was worried about.
Is it because of your computer?
I have no idea. I've never tried to share a video on Zoom before. I assume I
If
didn't think the
you're-
audio.
Cheryl, if you're using it, go to the share screen options at the bottom. It should be share computer audio. There should be a box you can check.
Actually, okay, hold on. Let me. Actually, when I'm in the middle of this,
Whoever
okay,
said
let
that,
me.
thank you.
That was Braun. Hang on. I see what he's saying. Let me see. Start video. You know, I wear headphones, so I don't know.
You want me to try, Cheryl?
Yeah, because I have no idea. That's beyond my bandwidth, Braun, but thank you.
Okay, let me give it a shot. Okay, where's share screen? Okay, share screen. And there we go. Share. And he says there's somewhere there it says audio. Can you hear that?
If elected,
Yes.
joining a history-making grassroots civic engagement movement like no other in the world. Neighbor councils were created in 1999 by Angelinos who voted to change the city charter so they could have a stronger voice at City Hall. Today, there are 99 certified neighborhood councils with nearly 1,800 board members throughout the city of Los Angeles. As official advisory bodies to the city government, their mission is to increase civic engagement and make government more responsive to local needs. Neighborhood councils do this by monitoring the city budget, the delivery of city services, and acting as a liaison between the community and the city electeds and departments. Neighborhood councils represent the stakeholders in the community. Unlike municipal, state, or federal elections, where only residents get to run and vote, neighborhood council stakeholders include people of all ages, live, work, real property, or have a significant and ongoing community interest, such as those who go to school, board horses, or worship in an area. Because every neighborhood is different, so are the neighborhood council boards and boundaries, which are created by the stakeholders to represent the uniqueness of their community. Be sure to check out the website and bylaws of the neighborhood council you're wanting to represent, so you know all about them. Also, attend their meetings so you can see how the board works and the issues they're tackling in their community. To be a neighborhood council board member, get ready to roll up your sleeves and work. Besides attending monthly board meetings, you'll be expected to participate in neighborhood council committee meetings, events, special projects, and other outreach to your stakeholders each month. You also need to track what's going on at City Hall so you can weigh in on behalf of your stakeholders. Expect to spend 10 to 20 hours a week on neighborhood council activities because you're representing thousands of stakeholders in your community and they need you to help voice their concerns.
Okay, Norway,
Even though you're a volunteer, as a neighborhood council board member, you'll need.
Whoops. The audio stopped.
Lori, I think it was coming through your microphone rather than through another route.
You can't be muted,
You're
Lori.
muted. You're muted, Lori.
That the more you know about how to get things done, the better you'll be as an advocate for your community. You may even be inspired to work on a city commission or run for higher office like many other neighborhood council board members. Once you sign up to run as a candidate, we encourage you to run a friendly and positive campaign. Remember, The other candidates are just your neighbors and committee members in the end. For more information on candidate guidelines or neighborhood councils, please go to empowerla.org. Lastly, there are many roles on a neighborhood council. If you have limited time to volunteer, or if you run and don't win a seat, you can still participate on your neighborhood council by becoming a committee member, serving as a city liaison, helping out at events, attending board meetings to weigh in on community issues, or a range of other activities. There's a place for everyone on your neighborhood council. Welcome to the neighborhood council family. Thank you again for stepping up to empower yourself, empower your community, and empower LA.
Thank you, Lori.
Welcome.
At this time, I want to introduce Robert Salgado. Robert is our elections administrator. As you know, this year,
Thank you for being here tonight. My name is John Darnell, and I'm one of the neighborhood empowerment advocates from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment.
Oh,
We oversee the.
is that me?
That's you, Lori. As I was starting to say, Robert is our elections administrator. He works for the city clerk's office. As you know, this year, our elections are being run completely by the city clerk. So Robert, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Robertino Salgado. I'm from the Office of the City Clerk Election Division, and I'll be your election administrator for this election cycle. Looking forward to working with you all, and I'll go ahead and provide some election information and important dates later on in the presentation, so stay tuned. And we should have some time for Q&A after the presentation, but in the event that you have any questions about the election or we're not able to address it, feel free to send me an email. My email address is robertino.salgado@lacity.org. So, yeah, and I'll repeat that at the end too. So.
Thank you, Robert. At this time, Cheryl, if you could just put up the PowerPoint presentation.
Hang on, I'm typing. Hold on. I'll be right there. Yeah.
This presentation and the resources that are in it are all found on our website. So if someone is interested in one of the websites that it mentions, you don't need to copy it down. You can just go onto our website and find the links there. So when we get up, so I want you to go up about five into the one that says neighborhood, the board seat slide. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Most of this was covered in the other presentation. Here, okay.
Can you make that larger, Cheryl? So you just shows just the slide?
No, I can't get the, I don't want to tinker with that. That's as big as.
I need the one before that, Cheryl. Go back one. Slide number 6. Thank you. Only it needs to show the whole slide. Okay.
People, I can only take so much direction.
If you click on slideshow, I think it works. And it.
Yeah, the one farthest to the right by the volume on the right bottom.
Too many backstreet drivers, huh?
So, as you know, we have 17 seats on our board, and this year, 16 of them will be included in this election. The 17th seat is our youth seat, which is an appointed seat. And we have a variety of seats, each of which has its own requirements for running for it. So 8 of our seats are residential seats, and these are for people who either live or own property in one of our 4 sub areas. The boundaries of Northwest and the sub areas are on the map, which is located on our website. The next group of seats are the business seats. There are 2 business seats, and there are 3 different ways to qualify for a business seat. This is the one I think that's the most confusing because there are the 3 different ways. The first one is that you own or work at a licensed business that is located within the boundaries of Northwest San Pedro. That's easy. The second 2 both require you to live in Northwest. One of these is that your business is located in the zip codes 90731 or 32. And the other one is that your business is a member of the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce. But for both of those, you also have to live within the Northwest San Pedro boundaries. The third group of seats are what we call our non-governmental seats, and we have 2 of these. These are to represent a non-governmental organization The organization has to have had a facility address within the Northwest boundaries for at least a year, and it has to perform ongoing activities that benefit the Northwest area. And non-governmental organizations include both nonprofit organizations and religious organizations. The third group, or the fourth group of seats, I mean, there's just one, and that's the education seat. And that's for a candidate to represent a school, such as a teacher, a school volunteer, or PTA member. It has to be a school that serves the Northwest area. But the candidate does not need to live within the boundaries of Northwest. And the school does not actually have to be located within the boundaries as long as it serves our community. And then the last is there are 3 at-large positions. And to be eligible for this seat, a candidate must meet the requirements for at least one of the other seats listed above. Next slide. Cheryl? No. What happened? Back. This will be slide 7, Cheryl. Back, 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 back. There we go. The board terms. Normally, no, go to number 7. No, the one after the next one.
You had me take down the guide, so I can't see what slide 7 is anymore.
Back one.
I went one.
You
Okay,
were
here's the slide we were on. You back one is this.
no, forward,
Thank you.
forward, one more. Okay, thank you.
This, yeah, okay.
The Northwest Board normally has 4-year terms that are staggered, with half of the seats being elected in any given election. However, due to some changes that happened in the election years, this year, all 16 seats will be filled in this election, with half of the seats having 4-year terms and the other half having 2-year terms. So if there are 2 seats in a category, the candidate receiving the higher number of votes will receive the 4-year term. The candidate receiving the next highest number of votes will be assigned to a 2-year term. For the members at large, since there are 3 candidates, the candidate with the highest number will get the 4-year term, and the other 2 candidates will get the 2-year terms. Next one. Well, this is the one. The candidate filing opens February 13th and ends March 30th. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then Octaviano mentioned to you already the 3 candidate information sessions. It was actually suggested that it was good for candidates to attend more than one because of the kinds of questions that got asked. The presentation is the same, but you may learn something different by different ones. And as I said, those are actually posted on the calendar on our website. So now Robert's going to come back and talk about some of the other specifics.
All right. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and discuss becoming a candidate. So if we could go on that slide, please. I think it should be the one after that one. All right, perfect. Yeah, so there are currently 2 ways to become a candidate. Sorry, real quick before I start, everyone can hear me okay? It's not, it's not like choppy or anything? Okay, perfect. All right, so there are currently 2 ways to become a candidate for this election. The first is by filling out a paper application. So we have that currently located on our website. And we have the paper application available in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Korean. And the second way to become a candidate is making an account on our candidate filing portal and submitting an application. So I'll go ahead and discuss the candidate filing portal because that is the main way that we would like you to become a candidate. So for that, first thing you have to do is make an account on our website. So what you'll go ahead and do is select the create a new account button on the login page. I would like to note, because a lot of stakeholders have gone confused, if you have accounts with the city or if you have an autofill on your computer, it may already populate the login screen. Just ignore that if you haven't made an account on our portal yet. Let's say if it's your first time submitting an application for an NC, yeah, just ignore the autofill. Since this is a new portal, everyone is required to make a new account. All right. So when making an account, it's advised that your primary email address is it's advised that you choose your primary email address and not the one that is your current NC email. There's no rules against using your NC email, although we would highly recommend that you use your primary email address. The reason for that is because after you go through the create account process, you're going to be sent a confirmation email. So again, we want to make sure that the primary email address that you input in that field is the one that you check frequently, because again, we will be sending emails to that email address, and that's the one that we'll have the correspondence with throughout the process. So if we have any questions about documentation and whatnot, we'll be in contact with that email address. So again, make sure it's your primary email address. So after that, after you've made an account, you just go ahead and select the Northwest San Pedro NC, which opens on Saturday, February 13th. All right. So I know the board seats were discussed earlier, but I'd recommend reviewing the bylaws to get an idea of which seat you would like to run for, and reviewing the Article 10 to see examples of what documentation is acceptable for certain seats. So after you select the seats, if you have your documentation, you can go ahead and upload that. Otherwise, you can submit your application and upload your documentation on a later date. So again, this is something that we would like to emphasize as well. For candidate filing, there are 2 deadlines. You have the first deadline, which is the candidate filing deadline. So the deadline to submit your application. So that's Tuesday, March 30th at 5 p.m. And then you have the documentation deadline, which is Friday, April 2nd. So that Friday at 5 p.m., that's the documentation one. So again, it's the first deadline for candidate filing, so submitting the application, and then the second deadline to submit the documentation. So there is a little leeway. A lot of candidates think that they need to submit their application with the documentation and their candidate photo and statement all at once. That's not the case. You just have to submit your application by the deadline, the candidate filing deadline, and then submit your documentation by the documentation deadline. All right. So yeah, a little tricky. We do have the timeline on our website if you have any questions or if you want to see the dates. All right, so moving on to the next slide about the candidate statement. All right, yeah, so as mentioned earlier, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, they are having various candidate info sessions. I hope those of you who had the opportunity to attend the previous ones found them helpful. But for those who haven't, I'd highly recommend attending them so that you could get some tips and some ideas on how to structure your candidate statement and photo. Anne-Marie Holman from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, she has a great presentation on pretty much how to go about structuring your candidate statement and your photo, and some little tips here and there that you see on the slide. So I'd highly recommend attending those. And as Octaviano mentioned, they do have one tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So if you're available, then I'd highly recommend attending either the one tomorrow or one of the future candidate info sessions. Now, for the candidate statements and photos, you are allowed to change it as many times as you would like before the deadline, which is 7 days before the election. So that's Tuesday, June 8th at 5 p.m. All right. And I would like to note that each time you submit a change, our office will do a quick review to ensure that there's nothing inappropriate in your candidate statement or photo, or that there wasn't some sensitive information that was accidentally uploaded. For example, we've gotten it at times where people upload their driver's license for the candidate photo accidentally, and then we've had to pull it off ASAP. So this time around, we're just doing a quick review, make sure that there's nothing inappropriate or no sensitive information. And then once we view that, make sure everything's good to go, you'll see it on our candidate info website. So if you see a pending after you submit your candidate statement or photo, most likely it's because we haven't reviewed it yet. All right. And then for the overview of the candidate statement, as I mentioned, yeah, you have until 1 week before the election date to make edits. You have 1,000 characters for your candidate statement. All right. So it's 1,000 characters, not 1,000 words. So what I would recommend is you type out your candidate statement on Microsoft Word and then just do a quick select all, and then you can see the word count at the bottom left. Or sorry, not the word count, but the character count. Again, just because the spaces and periods, that's a character. So yeah, just make sure of that. And then also too, on our candidate info website, what you'll see for each candidate is the first 100 characters. So usually it's about the first one or two sentences. Again, we don't want to have the full candidate statement, otherwise the page is just going to be too long. So you'll see the first one or two sentences, and then from there, you could go ahead and click expand and then read the rest of the candidate statement. All right, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the vote by mail slide. All right, perfect. All right, so due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are having an all vote by mail election. So similar to candidate filing, there are two ways to request for a ballot. The first is with the paper application, again, which is currently on our website. And then the second is creating an account and requesting for a ballot on our portal. So there are 3 locations listed on this slide where you can pick up a paper application closer to election day. And I just wanted to provide you with an update. I did have my colleague who is in charge of recruiting the service providers reach out to those 3 facilities. And unfortunately with Peck Park, they are currently closed to the public and will not be able to assist in distributing paper applications. The Assistance League, they have their gift shop closed until March. So once they open back up, we'll be in contact with them and see when we could arrange a distribution of the paper applications. And then for the mailroom, they have confirmed that they are willing to assist. Although currently my office is going to discuss the location within the coming days amongst ourselves to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. So we cannot confirm that location just yet. And then I'll provide you with more details after the fact. All right. So then moving on with the portal, just giving you a quick overview with that. So we will be having video tutorials on our website, which will show you how to navigate the portal for the vote by mail process. So stay tuned for that. We're looking to have that soon since Region 5 is currently open to request for ballots. So again, yeah, that should be within hopefully the coming week, either this week or next week. Now with the portal will be open 60 days prior to Election Day. So that's Friday, April 16th. And once applications have been reviewed and approved, ballots will be mailed out starting 29 days before Election Day. So that's Monday, May 17th. Again, as I mentioned with the portal, it is open 60 days prior to Election Day, but the paper applications are currently available. So if there are any stakeholders who would like to go ahead and submit a paper application, again, just visit the website and then you could do so. But the portal will be open 60 days prior to Election Day. All right, the last date to request a ballot will be 7 days before Election Day. So that's Tuesday, June 8th. And then ballots must be postmarked by Election Day and received no later than 3 days thereafter to be included in the tally. The envelopes to return the ballots have prepaid postage, so there's no need to worry about stamps. And we are currently finalizing the logistics to use the county drop boxes that were used in the general election in November. And the location we currently have in mind, which is again not yet confirmed, is Peck Park. So again, yeah, once we get the confirmation and the go from the county and everything's good in terms of the contract and whatnot, I'll go ahead and provide you with the update. And lastly, the tally will be live streamed on YouTube and the link will be provided on our website. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the voter eligibility. All right, so on this slide, we have the voter requirements similar to if you're researching the candidate seats. I'd recommend reviewing the attachment B of the bylaws to see what the voter requirements are. Currently, yeah, as if you're 16 years of age, you'll be able to request for a ballot. Northwest San Pedro is self-affirmation. And there are 2 ballot types that we have. The first one is the general, which is for the live, work, own stakeholders. And then the second is the community interest ballot, which is for the community interest stakeholders. And I'll be discussing the ballot voting model with Diane and Braun during the election meetings that we have monthly. So yeah, hopefully they could relay some information once I distribute that to them. All right, and the next slide with the important dates. All right, yeah, so here are the dates that I mentioned. Again, we do have the timeline on our website, which is posted. But I will like to emphasize the end of the election period is Tuesday, June 15th. So again, yeah, these are just the important dates to be aware of, and it can be found on our website. All right, and then lastly is the the information and links. Yeah, so make sure to go on these websites. If you have any questions, the northwestsanpedro.org website. I know that they have a lot of the information that I discussed. Lori and Diana they've done a great job of having material uploaded on there. So thank you guys for that. Also, I'd recommend visiting empowerla.org for the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment's website to, again, be up to date with any candidate info sessions and any information regarding your NC. And then lastly, of course, visit the city clerk's website, which is clerk.lacity.org/elections. Again, to get all the election information, such as the timeline, the election handbook, and whatnot. So, all right. Yeah, thank you for giving me your time to present this evening. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email me at robertino.salgado@lacity.org. So it's my first name dot last name at lacity.org. And then, yeah, I believe we have some time to have some questions. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Robert. Just a couple things I want to add, and then we'll open it up for questions. The first thing I realized we failed to put into the slide is to be a candidate for all of the seats other than the youth seat, you now need to be 18 years of age, which was at the time of 18 by the time of the election. That was a change that was made by the city councils last year. Second thing is that Robert talked about the paper application for candidates. I would strongly discourage anyone from using the paper application unless they weren't, for some reason, not able to use the computer one. The reason for that is it is a generic application that was developed for the whole city, and it does not meet our needs very well. And so trying to figure out what to put where is very confusing for our board seats. So if you want to use that, I suggest you contact me and I can kind of walk you through where we think different things should be put. The last thing I wanted to add is that in addition to the things that are on our website and the websites that Robertino shared with you, our last newsletter has almost all of the information that we presented tonight was also in our newsletter. So you have another format to go to. So at that, we can open it up to any questions. I'm not sure how much time we have left.
Well, I only see one hand up right now, and that's from Lori. Oh, I just saw another one. Thank you, birthday girl.
Put it down, Lori.
So let's go with Lori, and then, wow, what happened to Gwen?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just so excited that I can raise my virtual hand for the first time. So, yeah.
and I know, and Lori, I'd like to tell you, thank you for putting a hand of color there. So.
I have nothing to do with the color of my hand, okay?
Oh, okay.
But thank you. And Diana beat me to that the newsletter. So so just a couple things. It's kind of tricky because they let you change your candidate statements up until a week before the election. And we want to put a newsletter out, a hard copy one that has the candidate statements. So that makes it very trying. So we're still working together to figure out a date, but my goal is to get a newsletter out the beginning of May, because people are actually starting to vote in the middle of April, okay? And so we'll put out a notice that tells you that whatever candidate statement you have filed by, say, like May 1st, that's what's going to go in the newsletter. And we'll put a disclaimer in the newsletter with a link to where people could read any updated candidate statements. So that's the best we can do, but we do feel, because there are people who depend on, you know, getting things in the mail, that we want to have that newsletter. It's just sort of just a necessary evil. The newsletter too, by the way, it did reach the additional homes because Gwen and Chris got newsletters in the mail for the first time, and other people I've talked to. So that's good. And also San Pedro today had an ad in there. My question for Robertino is, at what point will we see who the candidates are and what position they've applied for I'm assuming, okay, once they've submitted, but not until the approval process, but will it be ongoing? You'll update it as each person is confirmed they're a valid candidate. We can see it.
Yeah, so pretty much the way that our candidate info website works is once they submit an application, they'll go ahead and show up on our website, and then it'll show up as pending. Now, once they submit the documentation and everything, it'll show up as certified. And then from there, you could kind of get a good idea of, for the most part, who's going to be on the ballot. We will be releasing the certified list of candidates. Sorry, give me 1 second. 60 days before the election day, so that's Friday, April 16th. And then, yeah, we'll release the list to the board with the contact information of the candidates. So just their email address and their phone number if they wish to provide that on their application.
So does that mean, Robertino, that on April 16th, that's the last time somebody can file to be a candidate?
No, so the April 16th, the April 16th date, that's when we're gonna have the certified list. So yeah, the last day for them to file is March 30th. So yeah, after that, March 30th, you'll probably see some pending candidates. Again, we still have the documentation deadline on April 2nd. After April 2nd, yeah, for the most part, if we're not contacting candidates, just again, based off case-by-case scenarios for their documentation, whatnot, that's for the most part the final.
Okay, and so here's another strange question. So let's say somebody files to be a candidate, they actually qualify for several seats. Okay, so they apply for one particular seat and then they go, oh, wow, there's 10 people running against me. I'm going to pull that out and then apply for something else. They still have to do that before March 30th, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's actually, yeah, that's one of the things that that does happen a lot. Again, people wait until the last minute to file because they want to see which seat for the most part is uncontested or at least contested in that case. So yeah, they'll wait until the last couple days. We have had some instances where, let's say, someone withdraws from a certain seat and then they'll apply for another seat, but then they want to go back to that initial seat. If that's the case, yeah, so what they'll have to do is reach out and submit an application or a paper application, or reach out to our office, and then we have to manually let them back in, or we'll enter another application for them, because unfortunately, since it shows that they withdrew from that initial seat, our portal blocks it, so they won't be able to apply. We'll have to apply for them.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that answers most of the questions. I'm sure more will come up.
Yeah.
Hey, Gwen, you're up next.
Hi. So along those lines, will you be going through the candidate information session where you'll be talking about the pluses and minuses of that last minute kind of decision, as well as what is appropriate campaigning and what is inappropriate campaign, and the period in which you might be outreaching to your group, your stakeholders?
Mm-hmm. Well, first off, happy birthday. So anyways, with that, yeah, we have the candidate code of conduct on our website. We don't go over anything formal in terms of outreach and stuff with the candidates and how to go about their campaign and whatnot. We don't really delve too much into that. Again, it's more so kind of a form of outreach, and the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment is in charge of the outreach component of the election. We're more so in charge of conducting the election. So again, yeah, with the candidate info sessions, I know from what I've seen in the past with Anne Marie, like what Diane mentioned, she does have a template, but then based off whatever questions we receive, it'll kind of go a certain way, the presentation. So I mean, if that's something that you're interested in and you would kind of like more information in that regard, I'd recommend attending one of those and then presenting your question there. Hopefully that answers that.
Just to clarify that, the city clerk has certain functions in this, and then the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment has other functions. So it's the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment that is actually providing the candidate information sessions, not the city clerk's office.
Yeah, we have a little part in the info session, but it's just to go over how to fill out an application. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, the candidate info session, that's your thing. So
yeah, I just to share this with the many participants who are listening right now who are probably interested in all of this. The only other thing is, Diana, maybe we'll have to straighten out some of the links. Already in the PowerPoint, I kind of tested some out and they errored out, so we may want to do that.
If you would email me, because I thought I had tested them. So if you would email me.
Yeah, well, it was directly from the PowerPoint, so it may be a different route. Yeah.
Gwen, I'm not sure the PowerPoint had a hyperlink on there. If you could test the ones, I've tested them before that are on the website, and email both Diana and I if any of the website links are not working.
Got it. Yeah.
And I had tested the website links earlier today. All of them were working. So
Thank you.
Individual people might have some issues with their computer depending on what kind of system they're running or if they've got any kind of blockers on there.
Well, meaning if any of the stakeholders went to this PowerPoint in particular and tried to use those addresses for any reason because they were just going through the whole thing, there might be an issue.
If someone becomes aware of one, please let me know so we can get it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Gwen. So I'm just the outreach person, but I tried very hard to make as much information as possible available on the website. I will say I did sit in on one of those exciting Empower LA meetings, and about 90% of the people on the one I was on had never run for a neighborhood council before, so they were very, very green. But they do in-depth go through the do's and don'ts, because there's some bad practices on campaigning and there's some strategic practices. So if you have concerns, you also can reach out to Diana and I, anybody can, if they have questions. And I'm careful because I may be running, so I don't want to have a conflict of interest, but I'm glad to direct anybody to the right person to get information to help them become a candidate.
Okay, so I don't see any other hands up. So it was a perfectly good presentation with all the questions answered right up front. Thank you, Robertino, and thank you, Diane and Ron, for all your hard work.
And other than, I would encourage all the participants who are here to, if they know of somebody who be interested, please encourage them, tell them about this possibility of participating in their community.
The best outreach you can do for our neighborhood council is word of mouth. We can put out all the newsletters and flyers and social media, but word of mouth from experienced board members is the best outreach.
As well as the attendees to all of our committees. And hopefully we will continue to repeat that message.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the consent calendar. And if some of you are keeping track, our consent calendar looks a little bit different, a little bit more expansive. And we're trying something new to save some time here. There are, let me kind of just go over the narrative here. The consent calendar items to be considered to not to be, or considered not to be controversial and will be treated as one agenda item. There will be no discussion of these items unless an item is removed from the consent calendar, in which case it will be considered as time allows on the regular agenda. Any member of the board may request that an item be removed. So the items in our consent calendar are as follows: approval of the January 2021 board and stakeholder meeting minutes. That's for January, our minutes. The next one is to consider appointment of Jason Herring as vice chair of planning and the land use committee. The next one is consider a letter regarding Peck Park Canyon maintenance issues. Next one is the approval of the CIS relating to sign ordinance CPC 20-2015-3059 and CF Council File 11-1705. The next one is the approval of CIS in support of outdoor dining, Council File 20-1453. And the last one is the approval of letter to port regarding rail. Do I hear anyone asking for setting any of these aside? Okay, I don't see any hands. So can I get a motion, please, to pass?
You need a motion for the consent calendar?
Don't we? Don't we usually do
Yes,
that?
we need a first and a second, please.
First. I'll second it.
Okay, I didn't hear who
Gwen
the
and
first-
Melanie.
Okay, excuse me, when you say first and second, could you please say your name first? Because it's very hard for
Melanie,
the
second.
minute. Thank you.
Gwendolyn Henry, motion to approve.
Okay, who's the second?
Melanie. Correct.
Melanie, okay, great. Okay. Can we have any discussion? No?
No.
So let's move on. I was just trying to make it formal. So let's move on. Cheryl, could you take the vote count, please?
Certainly. Brock,
Yes.
Armando is still not here, I'm confirming.
Correct.
Okay. John Barbera,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Adrianita,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Consent calendar passes as presented. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. So I'm going to move the Bonk and Hank agenda items down because I'm feeling that we may need to save some time here. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So if we can go down to the committee reports, that would be appreciated. There's a couple things I want to kind of mention real quick. One that's really concerning to me, and let me just say something about item 3 because somehow my name got involved in this one. There is an email going out there right now to many of the board members asking for them to buy gift cards and stuff and sending them out. If you find yourself having been asked, please let us know because I want Dunn to be aware of this. It's really disturbing that people are actually asking, and if I remember correctly, I think we actually had one board member actually go on and purchase.
It was me.
Well, I wasn't going to name names, so.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
So it's just. Someone wanted to say something? No? Okay. So please, if you've seen that there's a request for you to buy gift cards or make a payment of some type, please let me know because it's I'm really concerned about that. And this is not a time to start for people starting to get these types of things. We've had a lot of them because of COVID, a lot of scams going on. So last thing we want is our neighborhood council to get involved in any of this stuff. And a reminder to your committee, the committee chairs, during your committee meetings, if you can make a pitch for the elections, let people know that we're always looking for good people to become members of the neighborhood council. So make a pitch during your meetings. That would be great. And the other ones, committee meetings, all motions and letters submitted for the board approval should include recipient details, an opening statement and a closing statement with a call to action if required. The other thing too is we'd like to make sure that the committee chairs also follow up. If there's a deadline for some kind of expected response, please take the initiative to contact the person that or department that you emailed or sent the communication to, and ask them that you have been expecting some type of response. That way there's someone following up on some of these really important council files and CISs and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's move on down to budget and finance. Melanie?
Yep. Okay, first thing we have is the MER. It is not out of committee because it wasn't ready until the 5th, and our meeting was before it was ready. Cheryl, can you bring up the package for budget and finance?
Give me a minute. Well, hang on. No. Oi, cat, stop it. You're not helping. Sorry, I've got cat interruptus. Okay, now let me screen share for that. I usually open these in advance. I apologize.
There we go. So this is the MER, and we have $20,603.18 available. We paid out for elections, the San Pedro today. We paid out for Doug Epperhart for his work for the newsletter. We paid out Christina, and we paid her the $800 for the website upgrade, which left us $20,603.18. I need a motion for this. Anybody want to move it?
Lori moves that we do this.
Okay.
Brock
And
seconds.
any second?
Brock
Braun
seconds.
seconded.
Brock?
Braun.
Oh, Braun.
No, I did.
Oh, Rock did? I'm sorry.
Rock did. Okay, any discussion? Okay, so we'll roll call vote. Rock?
Yes.
John? John?
Yes.
Mary? Adrianita?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly? Kelly? She there?
She's there.
Kelly? Come back to her. Alec?
Ineligible.
Oh, you can't vote. That's right. Abstain. Ray
Yes.
and Chris.
Yes.
Kelly, are you back?
She might be out of the room.
I just marked them out or absent.
Okay, so absent on that one. Okay, next, scroll down, and that's the budget. The next page, Cheryl. There should be a budget.
She's scrolled all the way down.
Okay, well, there should be another document in there. That's,
Okay.
There we go. Here we go. So let's see. Scroll down a little bit, and you can see the total at the bottom is the same, the 2603.18. This is out of committee. So any discussion? That being said, call for the vote. Rock?
Yes.
John Babar?
Yes.
Mary Chan? Mary? Mary? Adrianita?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jan Kane?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Alec?
No.
No. Ray
Yes.
and Chris?
Yes.
Mary, are you back?
You're muted.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
And
Yes?
it's a yes vote.
Okay. Alrighty, the next thing we're gonna look at this, still the budget. And so up at the top, we have 3,200 in administrative funds. We're only gonna need about 1,300 of the minute taker money because we'll have somebody coming in from March until June. We have 5,376.29 left here. So it's going to give us a total over the top of about anywhere from $11,000 to $12,000 left. We can only roll over 10 maximum for rollover funds. So the motion on the table out of committee now to take 5,000 of that and do another round of MPGs with the same criteria as we did before for COVID. This is out of committee, so any discussion on that? After all said and done, it will still have to roll over anywhere between $5,200 and $600,000 still to roll over. Any discussion?
Looks like Cynthia's got her hand up.
Did you go to any of the other committees and ask them if they needed that money maybe for something they have in mind?
No, but they have to submit that stuff. There's
Okay.
been nothing submitted at this point.
Okay.
I don't see any other hand.
Okay, so call for the vote then. Rock,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Adrianita,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
and Chris.
Yes.
Okay, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, next item is our bylaws and election committee. We had a very good election committee report. Anything on bylaws, Diana or Ron?
No.
Nope, okay. So now we're gonna move to our public safety committee. And Melanie, would you like to talk about this?
Okay, Cheryl, can you bring up the CIS that's on there? It's CIS under public safety 200190.
Hang on. That's 10D. 10D. Oh, hey. Nope, no, no. That's not what I asked for. Oh, it's in Word? Okay, hold on, it's in Word.
Oh, is it?
Yep, the document on here's in Word, so hold on, and I'm gonna have to do a whole nother event here. Screen share that,
Left
so.
it in Word because in case there was a change to it.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic about that. Hang on, but I have to get out of that screen share and get into
While you guys are hitting that, I see Gwen's hand raised. Is there a question, Gwen, before we do this, or is that waiting and you're anticipating and you're muted?
This is it, right, Melanie?
Huh?
This is it?
Yes.
Cool.
Can't hear you, Gwen.
My hand was raised because it's once the presentation is over, I'll be one of the participants.
And if I could please ask people to stay muted during these presentations. Pete and a couple of other people keep unmuting and we're hearing background noise.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, so this is a council file that was presented to the council last February by our councilman, Joe Basquiano. And it was presented for the benefit of the park rangers to have protection because they go through the academy just like the police officers and go through the same training as police officers do. But then once they're out of the academy and they're placed as park rangers, then they turn over their guns and they're limited to pepper spray as their source of protecting themselves. There have been rises in the past 4 years. I posted a lot of documentation up on our website from different statements that have been made by Councilman Basquiano, as well as other neighborhood councils have weighed in. This is very controversial. And it's not about homeless, it's not homeless. It's a pure fact that there's more crime being raised in the parks, from drug trafficking to gang-related stuff to just a lot more crime. With Prop 47 and with the early release of prisoners and stuff, they've seen more and more crime going up. Sex offenders in the park too is a problem. But part of the, also the other part of the problem is when you have like the canyon, when you have the canyon that they go into, like at Peck Park, when they go into the canyon, a lot of times they're by themselves when they're going, and there's only 20 park rangers assigned to all of LA County area. So a lot of times they're alone. And if they're all the way in the canyon and they meet adversity, it takes forever for a police officer to get to them if they have to call for assistance. So it's kind of a rock and a hard place to know, you know, this would be a way of adding a layer of protection for them and their safety. And so the committee watched several news articles and, you know, reviewed a lot of neighborhood council statements, and we felt strongly about going with that, with supporting it. I see on here tonight, there's Joe, where'd he go?
Losarelli.
Joe Losarelli, he's in charge of park rangers. I see also that Deanne Dedman is on here, as well as Ryan Ferguson is on. So what I'm gonna do is each one of you put in your feedback on this. So Joe, we'll start with you and then go to Deanne and then Ryan.
All right. Basically, I'm the chief of the LA City Park Rangers. I am a retired lieutenant from the LAPD. I was brought out of retirement to take over as chief of the park rangers. The park rangers patrol 430 parks in the city of Los Angeles, to include Hanson Dam, Balboa, all of Griffith Park, Venice Beach, the Cabrillo Beach area, many parks in the San Pedro area, many parks in the Valley area, many parks in the Pacific region, and many parks over in East Los Angeles. A lot of these parks over the years have increased in violent crime. I had sent out a chart that we gave to Councilman Busciano regarding the number of homicides, the number of shootings, the number of rapes, the number of stabbings that occur in these parks. And just recently, 2 of our park rangers, yeah, you probably saw it on the news, were detaining a suspect on a radio call where they were shot at by the person who produced the gun and shot at both of our rangers. This is the second time that this has happened in the last couple of years. Our rangers are law enforcement officers. They go through the Los Angeles Police Academy. They are required by the by the city charter and by the hiring process of the city personnel department. When they're hired, that 1, they have to go through an academy. 2, they have to be law enforcement officers. And 3, they shall patrol and make traffic stops and respond to radio calls from the community, whether it involves a lost hiker or whether it involves anywhere up to a homicide or a shooting in the parks, which we get a lot of that. Now, it is completely ridiculous because our park rangers are certified law enforcement officers and are post-certified by the state of California. They go through an LAPD academy, spend the entire 6 months there. We're the only park ranger division in one of the only park ranger divisions in the entire country who are asked to do this kind of enforcement, and yet they don't provide the weapon, the tool that the officer needs to protect themselves. I, as the chief of the park ranger division, cannot allow, if this change is made, I can't allow these officers to make traffic stops or to respond to calls for, shooting calls or everything, because it's just not safe for them. Now, the only park rangers that are armed in the country are the federal park rangers that patrol federal parks such as Yosemite, and any other federal facility, and state parks, who are also our law enforcement officers and are armed. We are required and we are asked by the city council, by the mayor's office, by the community to respond to violent crime calls, and yet we're not provided the tools that they need to do that. And so therefore, I had put in a request when I got here that protocol needs to change for the safety of the park ranger. These folks have families, they have kids. They're presented with situations every day that are dangerous. They patrol by themselves, and we don't just have small pocket parks, but we have the Skid Row area, we have Julian Park, we have South Park, we have the Hanson Dam area that are all known to be dangerous. As we expand the park program within the next year or so, I'm going to be required to put these officers in areas like Venice Beach, South Park, down in the Skid Row area. And it's ridiculous to put these folks in situations and ask them to do police work without a weapon. The city of Los Angeles hires contracted security that are armed to patrol areas like Julian Park now. They patrol areas like the Venice Beach restrooms. And these folks go through no training whatsoever, and yet they're certified to carry a weapon. The city of Los Angeles hires them. They have no police credentials whatsoever, except for a minimum of 20 hours of training on the weapon. That is it. And this is contract security that the city of Los Angeles hires to protect the parks. Also, there's General Services Security Services Division that has LAPD officers assigned throughout the city for park patrols, but because of the cutbacks with LAPD, they haven't been in the parks as often as we'd like to see them. But these officers go into the parks from time to time, and they're armed. Chief Mike Moore, who is supportive of arming the Rangers, would never allow his officers to go in situations without a weapon on their hip to keep their officers and the community safe. As you can see, over the last 5 or 6 months, crime in the city has gone way up. Just in January alone, the Los Angeles Police Department has had almost 50 homicides in 1 month throughout the city of Los Angeles. Some of those homicides were in the parks, and we are requesting, we're going to be working hopefully with the city council to get our rangers armed as they should be, and we want to move forward with that. Thank you.
Lori, do we want to do questions or go through Diane and Ryan first and then take questions?
That's Ray's call, not mine.
Why don't
Melanie,
we take the speakers first and then have go to questions from the public and
I didn't realize we had speakers.
yeah, well, I mean, Deanne Dedman's here and so is Ryan.
Ryan was invited, if I recall.
Right.
I don't know
Ryan-
about Deanne Dedman.
Deanne Dedman's here to speak about Rec and Park.
Okay, well, I would think that they, as long with all our board members, should try to limit it to 2 minutes, if that's okay with Ray.
Deanne? Is she, can you let her speak?
Yes.
Okay. Deanne, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me with my little bit of time tonight. I actually am just here to support Chief Lazzarelli and, you know, with their trying to and wanting to be armed. I believe that it's something that they definitely need. And so I'm just here for that tonight.
Thank you, Deanne.
Sure.
Ryan?
Oh, hold on.
Are you there, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm
Ryan,
here. Sorry.
There you go.
Different keybinds for different platforms on mute. Sorry about that. I'm looking at the proposed community impact statement and, kind of like the press release that our office put out after the council member introduced this motion last year. And I think, Chief Lazzarelli hit the nail on the head in his presentation. I'm here to, hopefully answer any questions that, anyone might have regarding this. But as you know, since the councilman did introduce his motion, he is supportive of this proposal.
Thank you, Ryan. So Lori, go with your questions.
Okay, so this is not me speaking. I'm actually going to read a statement that came from Supervisor Janice Hahn. Okay, I reserve the right to speak later. Okay, so here it is. The Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council Board Vice President Lori Jacobs reached out to me and asked my opinion on the proposal to arm LA City park rangers. This is definitely a City of Los Angeles policy decision, which is why I, as the mother of neighborhood councils, I like to see that this neighborhood council is weighing in on this. While I have no direct jurisdiction on this matter, I thought it would be helpful to share what the county is doing in this area. In Los Angeles County, we are trying to reimagine policing. Rather than expanding armed patrol, we are focusing on de-escalation policies and investing in unarmed responses, especially to people having mental health crisis. In fact, in October, the Board of Supervisors directed our Park and Recreational Department to explore replacing the Sheriff's Armed Parks Bureau with unarmed staff trained in crisis response and violence prevention strategies. I worry about the unintended consequences this policy may have on our unhoused population. Many of the people who live in encampments in our parks suffer from severe mental illness who would be better served by an unarmed response by mental health professionals. In the context of LA County's efforts to reimagine public safety, this proposal is a step backwards. Our park rangers face real challenges, but there are better and more innovative solutions for how we can help them. And that's the end of her statement.
Can I respond to that statement?
Yes.
Okay, this is Joe Lazzarelli again. Well, that's, to me, that if they want to do that to their county and they want to put security officers in their county, that's perfectly fine. But I don't think that is ever going to happen. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, which I researched, has 170 parks in this county of Los Angeles compared to our 430, for one. And two, every one of their law enforcement officers that worked at the Park Bureau, they're armed sheriff's officers that will never be removed from that duty. I mean, they're talking about imagining. That's exactly what it is. It's never going to move forward. Now, a lot of folks, talk about that. They want civilian people responding to the, and this has nothing to do with homeless. But what they're reading there is that basically they want to change it to send civilians to deal with people with mental illness. I can guarantee you this, that is going to be that is going to require the response of law enforcement officers, because a lot of these people that are out there are under the influence of narcotics, and civilian employees are not equipped to handle the situations that occur in and around the parks or in the county or in the city of Los Angeles, anywhere, to deal with people that are completely violent. And so they're talking about reimagining the county. That's perfectly fine, but I can guarantee you this, it will never happen. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department are never going to allow unarmed people to patrol their parks. And that's why we are trying to get our folks to be armed. Also, too, the state of California, again, Ranger program, and the federal government Ranger program will never allow their park rangers to be in the parks unarmed. To me, that is completely crazy to have people responding to violent crimes anywhere in the city, whether it be a park or whether it be a shopping center or whether it be a mall, without the proper tools to disengage or confront a situation where there is deadly force. Now, look, it is very true that an officer-involved shooting is very, very rare. Some departments in the country, in the state, in the county have never experienced an officer-involved shooting. However, law enforcement agencies arm their officers for the propensity of violence that can occur every single day. All I'm trying to do, and what I want to do for our Rangers, is make sure that they go home to their families and their kids every night. We may never have an incident on that, but look, if you're requiring Rangers to do police officer work, then they need to be equipped properly.
Yeah. Joe, I'm going to move on to Chris Vallier.
Melanie, if you don't mind, I think let me call out the names as who's going to.
Okay, I was just looking at who board members first, and then
I appreciate it.
Non-attendee.
Let me go ahead and do that, just so that we can make sure, because I want to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity to say what they have to say. So since you called Chris, go ahead, Chris, and then we're going to go to Gwen, and then I have something that I'd like to say, and then we'll go to attendees.
Okay. As briefly as I can, and as much as I can remember of all the statements that have been made so far, I would take exception to the comments that the chief made, guaranteeing that certain outcomes would happen if these changes were made. I don't think there's any way to responsibly make those guarantees as a professional, especially when you're assuming a negative outcome, when the history of that situation, i.e. The armed status of park rangers, has to this point never resulted in the death of an officer on duty. So to say that there's absolutely going to be a change in the history that we've already seen, I think it's kind of misleading, and it's overreaching. I guess I would just ask, maybe rhetorically, to everybody involved to as much as they can recall the stories of these incidents, basically the history of crime and violent crime in this country, and ask, do these situations need more firearms in them? How many situations do we see? How many situations do we say where I wish somebody else had had a gun? That way things would have turned out better. If we don't have, I would assume that park rangers all over the country will be confronted and assaulted occasionally, but we can't make policy for everywhere, and we have to deal with the situation in front of us. I don't know why this is necessary. I can understand why people would want it. I can see other situations. For instance, the example of these armed private contractors. I think, hiring armed private contractors who don't have police powers is a bad policy move. It doesn't mean we need to create parity with sworn officers just because we made a bad policy decision in one other aspect. I don't see how this change would improve anything. And I certainly have no desire to see park rangers in any additional danger or take any risk than they already take. I just don't know how any scientific data or how any history of similar policymaking has produced a better outcome. I don't know how this would make anything better, and I haven't heard any evidence to suggest that.
Well, what I would suggest is that before you speak on the topic, that you need to be in a situation, or you need to be more aware of what law enforcement officers go through every single day. You might want to look at the crime statistics that occur in the city. every day, particularly in the parks. And I would ask you to just put yourself in this situation. Do you want to be, would you want to be a police officer? And I know you're not, but would you want to be a police officer or a park ranger confronted with situations that the public and your own city expects you to confront without a weapon? That's my question to you. Would you want to be in that position? This isn't just.
Well, that's hardly the point.
Ray, excuse me, point of order, Ray. This isn't the way this is supposed to work at our meeting.
At all, completely. This is not a back and forth. This is completely out of order.
Okay, I apologize for that.
Anyway, I'm done.
So, okay, Chris, thank you. Gwen, I see your hand up, and Bron, I see your hand up. Gwen, and then Bron.
Okay.
And please, and Gwen, can you please limit your, maybe if you have many questions, please.
I don't have questions. I'm along the lines with now. First off, it seems that the city of Los Angeles is taking a pathway with park rangers that is quite different from the rest of the nation. Now, there was an attempt in South Bend, Indiana, to arm park rangers, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg, I'm getting back feedback. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, after 3 years of this program of training park rangers and arming them, it finally came down to park rangers approaching and saying, this is too dangerous. It is too dangerous to actually do this. We're not being provided the same training, but worse than that, they were being placed in positions where they didn't have the backup that police had. For example, where when you have park rangers, and I don't care how many you have, and if you double those numbers, and there are more, if you have an armed park ranger, they are now a target of and being recognized as a type of law officer. You're going to have other rangers out there who are not armed. There are people who are going to be dealing with trees and trimming and things like that, and you're making them a target as well. They changed the name to a park officer. 3 years they tried this. It became a serious issue, and they were concerned too, as they had the same kind of reports of rapes and attacks and things like that. They had to disband it. And there hasn't been no reactivating of this program. It occurred in 2014 when this was disbanded. I think that this needs a lot more consideration, because the city of Los Angeles is taking a direction with park rangers that is completely different than other cities. Monrovia, for example, the park rangers there.
Wrap up your comments, please.
Yes, I do not believe that this is an approving. This needs a lot more, and I do believe that park rangers in Los Angeles are being expected to do something that there needs to be a reassessment here. But they do not have the backup, and when they have guns, they will not have that backup.
Move on, please. Thank you. Bron, you're up.
All right, so I'm taking a look at this push from Buscaino on here, and I'm reading the facts, and this is a lot of what I see in my day-to-day in litigation, in that what we have are a lot of scare tactics here. We have a lot of frightening numbers, but we don't see how any of this would be solved by arming the 30 park rangers to cover the entire city of LA. I mean, I can use the same equivalent argument. Do I really want to bring my children to a park where a potential gunfight between park rangers and a criminal could break out? The point is, it's a false argument, and I'm hardly a bleeding heart progressive. But these numbers that are being presented simply don't indicate to me how any of these crimes, rapes, assaults would have been prevented with only 30 officers if they were armed. And the fact is, I don't think they would have been at all. It's just a false argument. By all means, I certainly would not want to feel as though if this is my job, I was being put in danger. But the situation here looks like they need more officers than officers that are armed, because I don't see how arming anybody is going to stop anything. And what I do see are a lot of arguments just to appeal to people's nature and fear, and not really facts. So,
Lori?
Thank you, Ray. I wrote mine down so I could be clear and concise. Okay. So I oppose this motion. The past year of unrest and protest clearly indicates concerns about increased use of enforcement. This motion contradicts many years of progress the city has made with communities of color. City officials have consistently moved to more progressive community tactics, which include prioritizing non-lethal use of force and community policing, where law enforcement work with communities to find solutions. Park rangers are already equipped with batons, pepper spray, handcuffs, and work closely with LAPD. Arming them further only takes the city in the wrong direction. Of course, I care about the safety of park rangers. I want them to come home to their families. Who wouldn't? Okay. But I also care about the safety of the people in our community and in the parks. And I don't think this is the right way to improve safety and I have real concerns about who may get seriously injured. How many times in the past years have park rangers truly been in harm's way? The data in the proposed motion states that these are statistics year to date, yet Councilmember Buscaino says that these are actually data from 4 years, not just year to date. So if we're going to even consider this motion, we need to have verified data from LAPD or pull that part of it out of the motion. The motion uses the word transient. And while that word actually refers to those who are situated temporarily, it's often used to describe those experiencing homelessness. The facts are we have a homelessness crisis, and people should be able to stay in the parks in the face of a shelter shortage without the fear of being shot. The prospect of arming park rangers terrifies me, as unhoused folks are the ones who are unsafe here. More weapons in the hands of humans means more use of force, not less. Could less than lethal weapons at least be considered instead of guns? We need more unarmed responses, not more armed responses. Thank you.
Okay. I see another hand.
No, there's no,
There's no other hand up.
no.
I
What's
see
other?
Rock. Rock, go ahead, and I see Cynthia also. And I'm gonna just reserve myself for the last comment. Cynthia, and then Rock.
Real quick, I don't know about the history of this, so I come with that detriment to me, but I don't think having people out there here to protect us not being armed. I mean, maybe pepper spray and batons is enough to work, but I do feel for the park rangers and anybody who's out there. We just heard from our great senior lead officer, Dan Brown, about a rise in crime. And because of COVID and the homelessness or whatever, we do have these encampments that, I would say, do you want to go to the park and know that you're not going to be protected? So that would be my issue. So I don't think getting rid of officers and having people out there not being protected is the right way. I can understand the controversy, but I would support this motion. And maybe the data does need to be updated. It's obviously not year to date, February 8th. So maybe a little update on that. But I don't think going in the direction of de-arming everybody and pulling officers off the street is the way we're going to keep our cities and towns and parks safe. And I didn't write that down either.
Let's see, Cynthia.
Gotta unmute yourself, Cynthia.
I think most of you know that I was carrying a weapon when I was an Army officer, an FBI agent, a Treasury agent, and a Homeland Security Special Agent. And I know there were situations we went into, and it was either somebody could have been homeless, they could have been husband and wife, it could have been anything, even, some of the conflicts we had. And you don't know when someone's going to pull a weapon. And it isn't right that bringing it back to our side here at the city, it isn't right that we want our people to go to the parks, but we send them there and they're not going to be protected. There won't be anything there to protect them except someone carrying some mace. That's silly. You have to have people protected everywhere. The rail officers have guns. The port police have guns. Why can't we have the people in the park protected? And I support this motion.
Okay. We have Well, we had one in attendees. I don't see it up any longer. So
Kelly's got her hand up.
who's that?
Kelly Miller is asking for attention.
She's signaling via video. Is that because I'm
For some reason, I can't figure out how to raise my hand.
okay, go ahead and make your comment.
I just, after watching those videos about the forest, the rangers, I felt that they were going into harm's way a lot. And I felt like they were going in to these parks and into these situations it's like going with a knife to a gunfight. And I just felt that, they had guns pulled on them. They had, they are trained as police officers. And as with all officers, they all need mental health training. I'm sorry, we are very derelict in that. I think police officers and anyone that deals with the public, period, in that kind of capacity needs to have mental health training. I work as a special needs teacher, and I have seen officers approach children wrong that are with children with autism. I've seen it happen with adults. And yes, we're trying to, I'm offended by what Janice Hahn said, because we need these things and, to rectify all this, but they're not doing that. And it hasn't been done yet. And so in the meantime, we need to protect people that are protecting us or protecting other people, and protecting them, people within the parks or whatever. This guy had a gun, was waving it at everyone. And here these poor rangers came in and they have pepper spray. Really? That's not going to do it, and they're trained officers. So yes, as with anyone else, they need to have more training. I think that that's where we're very derelict in. And I think that we need to, if we're going to send someone in to protect, they need to be able to protect fully.
Thank you. So I'll make my comment, but I want to start my comment by letting you know, I said this earlier, right before our council meeting this evening, I was actually in a conference call with Chief Moore. And because I knew that this was coming up, I had the opportunity to ask Chief Moore the question. And I asked him, Chief Moore, what are your thoughts about arming the park rangers? And I will paraphrase what he told me, but this is what he says. He supports this proposal in concept. He said that law enforcement officers they're trained. The work that is done with the highest level of transparency. And he also indicated that they are also held accountable for their actions, police officers. His question, the question that he says that he would pose is the continuation of training. Police officers go through training constantly, and his question would be, is there a piece of this that says that these once they become armed, will they continue their education and training in continued law enforcement work? The other part is that these officers go through, and they're going to be going through high levels of de-escalation skills building. Will the park rangers also go through, or have they gone through any level of de-escalation skills building on this? Who is going to hold the park rangers accountable? Is there a agency or a built-in accountability piece in this whole proposal? When he said this, one of the things that came to mind was that LAPD has the Office of Inspector General, along with the Police Commission. is there consideration as some type of unit that will be holding the park rangers accountable? He says that, again, he reiterated that in concept, he supports this. However, he indicated that this probably should be explored a little bit further. Now, if I could, I'd like to just kind of make my observations. Lori, you indicated 3 areas that I find very concerning. If we're going to propose any kind of document to our elected representatives and everything, I think the information in our council file or CIS should be accurate. I feel, and I think it's been stated, that the numbers in this council file or the CIS, the numbers are not accurate.
Accurate, but it's supposed to be 4 years instead of year to date.
So let me go back to what I just said, Melanie. In this document that is being presented, the information is not accurate because you indicate year to date. So that in itself would have to be changed.
Right.
I have a problem with the use of the term transient myself. This is not an issue about homelessness because the perception people have, as stated before, homeless, when we talk about a transient community, they're usually thinking about the homeless community. So we definitely have to make, Melanie, if you don't mind,
call order at this time.
Could I say, let me finish? I think the identification specifically in transient, when you, in your explanation, you name other places there. And I'd like to know, I would like to make sure that there are also, if this is where it's going, we need to really expand on how we utilize less than lethal weapons. I know I heard a pepper spray, but I know that there are other less than lethal weapons out there that are employed by the police department. Those are the main points that I have. And so I personally feel that we need to redo this council file and make it accurate. But we should also consider the fact that I think maybe down the line we need to look at this, but I'm not quite sure that we're there yet because of some of the questions that have been asked. So I'll go there. And now I see one hand raised for
Ray, my hand is up too.
And was that Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I'm going to take these last 2 comments. One from
Ray,
Vic.
Pete needs to stay muted because we keep hearing his background until you call on him. Please.
So Pete, stay muted. Vic, you're up, and then Pete, we'll let you know when you're up. So please keep your computer muted or whatever piece of equipment you're using. Vic, go ahead.
Okay, what I'm hearing from a lot of people who are opposed to this is an underlying assumption that the first thing that the park rangers are going to go to is a gun. As has already been stated, they have other means that are not firearms that they could use, and they won't necessarily have to draw a weapon to take care of what's going on. But in my opinion, they should have the option to do that if the situation merits it. So I would support this on the basis of that and other comments that people have had supporting it.
Thank you, Vic. Peter, you can unmute yourself and make your comment.
Thank you very much. I don't appreciate that I'm going to be muted all the time, so I cannot participate in this particular subject matter. I have been assaulted with a knife and rocks thrown at me when I try to take pictures of, especially of the homeless situation we have. The homeless people, most of them, destroying our infrastructure, and the people in the parks, sometimes if you ask them for a permit, if they have a permit, they get very violent. And the name of the game is deterrent and respect. I'm for the park rangers to get respect, not just the park ranger. We always have problem with Department of Water and Power and Caltrans, with people stealing the wire and selling the copper. We have our training facility. I used to train canines, police canine. I even thought that the park rangers have canines. Okay, then even at Caltrans and Department of Water and Power, they're taking our lines down, electricity line. One day, our city won't have no electricity, and they're selling their copper. So if there's 3 or 4 people stealing the wires, no park ranger or no security guy from Department of Water and Power approach those people. So we have to give them the tools to defend themselves, and that they be able to go home to their family. We're looking all at the homeless problem, the mentally ill. We don't have that many psychiatrists to go with a police officer or with the park rangers. I'm for that we give them the weapon, deterrent, and respect. Then we have less crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So,
Ray, are you making a motion, Ray?
Well, no, I'm not making
I'd
a
like to
motion.
do a friendly amendment to this and then put it up for a vote.
And what is your friendly amendment?
My amendment is to put the last 4 years there have been, and then the numbers, which the numbers are correct. And then to the transient.
Wait, where are you? I'll
armed
make the
individuals.
changes. I just don't know where you're reading.
It's
Year to date, say the last 4 years there have.
No. I don't see. I don't see where you're reading.
Is year to date, Cheryl?
right where you're
down.
Year to
right
date.
there,
Okay,
right there.
now I found it. You want to add ahead of this or behind it, or
Years there have been.
wait? Ahead of this, in front of this.
Wipe out year to date.
Okay, hold on. Just those 3 words. Year to date.
Yeah.
Okay, so strike through
4
those.
years.
Hold on. The last.
FUR. FOUR. Yeah. There have been. There you go. And up where it says transients, it says park rangers can encounter armed transients.
Got it.
A little below, a little lower.
A little lower.
Right there.
Put individuals.
Cross out.
Cross it out and put individuals.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with individuals. Okay, so you're the first on that amendment. Who's the second? And is that it?
And then on here, the aforementioned rise in crime neighborhood that supports council file. Or where, no, yeah, just leave it. Just like that. Yeah, that's fine.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I'll get to that. That was Gwen?
No, Kelly.
Kelly, sorry. That's why we need you to say your name.
Okay, Lori.
I'm sorry, I was waiting for you to call discussion.
I think we just have been discussing it all this
Okay. So
Well, discussion just on the amendment, right? Jermaine?
correct, just on the amendment. So on the data with the last 4 years, I'd like to know what the source of that data is. The council member just saying it to me is not a source.
Given from Joe, the head of, Joe Losario, from the head of Park Rangers.
Excuse me, can I finish what I was saying, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because somebody is saying it on the phone or on the Zoom meeting, you know, is this printed and written somewhere in LAPD? Is you need a real source if you're going to quote this data. Or again, can I please finish? You need a real source or you need to remove the data, please.
Joe put together the data and gave it to Joe Busciano. That data came from Park Rangers to the councilman.
Ray, do we need a website or a real source to verify that information?
You'd think the head of Park Rangers.
I can answer. I can answer those. I can
Well, the
answer those
president
questions.
quotes stuff that isn't true either. I want to see it written.
Lori.
Okay, I
Lori.
can answer that question. This is Chief Losarelli. I can answer the question for the crime stats. Those
go ahead.
crimes, if you look at the crime stats, they came directly from the LAPD Crime Analysis Unit at my request. That information went back not 4 years, it went back 5 years, and it was requested by Councilman Rue's office when I did my report. Now, there were some questions that came up about who's going to hold rangers accountable and who's going to investigate all this stuff. All that has been researched, but it's kind of hard to say any of this stuff because I've only met you folks here tonight. Before we went into the Army, we did research on this. We did thousands of pages. We've talked to our city attorney's office. We talked to the LAPD. I have the answers for all those questions that everybody, most of the folks posed here tonight. As far as those crime data, I got the crime data. As far as LAPD and who's going to hold rangers accountable, our rangers go through the LAPD Academy. And we are in an MOA with the LAPD for in-service training, where they provide the training that we have, the same as that they do with airport police, school police, and the Los Angeles ports police. All have and the fire department arson team all have an MOA with the LAPD. And so the questions that you have, this isn't just, we picked up and decided that one day we're going to arm the Rangers. We have an escalation force. We have a de-escalation force for everything that you guys are asking for. It's part of our policy. Our policy at the Park Ranger Division basically mirrors that of the LAPD. And the reason we do that is because our Rangers are trained by the LAPD. There's been a lot of discussion about, I have a complete investigation that was done on this particular topic that took months to research, but all the research that we did, I can't really explain all that in a 30-minute or 45-minute discussion with you folks. But all your questions that you have, I have the answers to any of those questions that you may have.
So it appears that we have to, your friendly amendment, Melanie, needs to be redone.
To 5 years. To 5 years.
To 5 years.
Okay, Cheryl.
And it seems that there is other data that might lend to this discussion that we've had. So I'm wondering if perhaps maybe in due diligence, we should perhaps maybe table this and let you acquire the data that was being asked for in this thing. That's
what do you mean by data?
I'm sorry?
Like what?
Return to committee or table?
I'm suggesting that it may.
Excuse me for a sec. The way the council file is written is in support of arming them, but it calls for in the council file for it to go. It's the beginning of the council file to support this council file of them approaching to arm them. But there's part of the council file too. If you read the council file and the motion that I put up on the website, They want that it looked at by Rec and Park to allocate the money for it. And they want it allocated where, what training's going to be done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all on that motion.
I have no idea what et cetera, et cetera, et cetera is, so.
No, but it based that all on the motion. That's
So-
up on our website that I loaded all the documentation up there when this came about.
Yeah, we don't forensically check every number in these meetings, so I don't really quite understand what the deal on that is.
Well, the deal is this is a bit of a hot button topic, and we're talking about numbers which we don't have a
But
site
everything
for.
loaded.
So hold
I'm
on.
not talking about the
hold on,
numbers,
wait.
I'm talking about the principle.
Hold on, if we can just start, interrupting everybody. I mean, I know that's how this is going now, but there's a lot of information in here that basically, if we push it forward, people's names are going to be assigned to, whether we like it or not.
Right.
Now, if you want to do a cut around and this passes, and you want everybody who can, who is against it to have their name removed from it, fine. I don't care. But I, for one, am not going to be a part of passing this as is, period. And if I have to resign to do it tonight, fine. But this is a bad support of something.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Gwen, you
Ray.
have, please make a quick comment, because I'd like to move this agenda item. We are,
Once again, I would urge that everyone have deep concerns over this because it looks like once again, the city of Los Angeles is being given a direction in a protective kind of role for park rangers that is pretty, it diverges from all other city park rangers out there. Once again, the concerns that Ray relayed from the chief and the concerns that Braun has raised were actually the in-action concerns that were brought up once again in South Bend, Indiana. And I would urge everyone to investigate that and what some of the problems that came up with arming.
thank
Can
you.
I mention?
Thank you, Gwen.
Okay, can I mention the Indiana thing? First of all, most park ranger divisions, with the exception of the federal park rangers that work in California and the state park rangers of California, go through a Los Angeles Police Academy. The New York, Indiana, Washington, Chicago, Detroit, their rangers are not considered law enforcement officers. And so when there's a question to arm the Indiana park rangers, I would have concerns with that too, because they are not law enforcement officers. Our rangers are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gwen, you've had your opportunity to make your statement. This is not going to be a debate here. We don't have the time for it to be a debate.
Investigation. I deeply could. Let's investigate first before we vote on this.
Okay. Cynthia, this is the last comment, and we're going to have to move this to a vote.
Ray,
Cynthia, please.
Ray, I just had a quick comment. I think the head of the park rangers has answered a lot of the questions. Now, if you're going to be asking how often are they going to be, the park rangers, if they're armed, be seen to a psychiatrist and everything, I think that's farther down the road. But if you want all of that in your CIS, then it's going to be about 50 to 500 pages long. All we're saying is that we want to go along with Buscaino in progressing on the endeavor to give them arms. Down the road, they might say no, but we don't know that now. So I think we should just back them and then let them do the work that they know what is happening more than we are here on the street.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Can I have?
Ron, I saw your hand.
My hand is up.
Yeah, just real quick in regards to what Cynthia said, I fully agree, which is why this isn't something that we should be asked to support or not support as a council. And in regards to what the chief has said, I think the simple right around is don't have park police, have LAPD assigned to the parks. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I don't see why there's a cutout for this if they are in fact officers, but as is, I simply can't support this.
Okay.
Right, point of order, we're only supposed to be voting on the amended motion at this point.
Voting on the, and then the motion as amended, please.
Yes, that is what we're going to be voting on, the amended information, and then we'll go with, or the amended motion, or the amendments, I'm sorry, and then we'll go with the amended motion. So
I have a short comment, please.
No.
Pete, we have to move this along. We appreciate your comments. So I'd like to move this along. Let's vote on the amendments first. Cheryl, would you take the vote count on the amendments?
Certainly. Rock,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Oh,
Mary,
Mary.
come back to her.
No.
Adrian,
Wait. Hold on. She just voted.
Mary,
No.
no, thank you. Adrianita,
Yeah.
Cynthia,
Yes.
What happened to Braun?
sorry, I missed Braun. Braun?
Conspiracy, no.
No, okay, sorry, I'm counting while I go, which I don't usually do. Okay, Cynthia, Gwen,
No.
Lori,
No.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray, yeah, Ray,
For the amendments, yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, so 10 yes, 4 no.
Okay.
So
it's
the
up-
amendment passes.
Passes. So now we're going to vote on the amended document.
Ray, what happened to us voting on tabling this motion until we have the data confirmed?
I
There
did
was
not
no
hear a
motion
for
made.
table.
Do a motion.
Can I move that motion then, please?
Honestly, I think we need to move, we need to vote on the, we've already amended this
Yeah.
thing. We need to vote on the amended motion. So
Agreed.
Cheryl, can you?
Yes, okay, so the motion as amended. Rock,
Yes.
thank you. John,
Yes.
Mary,
No.
thank you. Adrianita,
Yeah.
Braun,
No.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
No.
Lori,
No.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Raymond, Ray,
No.
and Chris.
No.
Okay, hold on. No, so that's 5, 6, 6 no's, 8 yeses.
Say that
How is
again.
that right? 6 no's, 8 yeses.
That's what I count up to.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, the motion passes. So
Okay, as amended.
I would, may I ask, I would actually like my name on that no. I would like that to be somewhere on the record as to individual names.
When do you ever look at the minutes? Of course, that's how it is.
Yeah.
The names aren't listed on a CIS.
They are in minutes, though.
Yes.
Right,
Thank you.
on the minutes.
Recorded.
Unbelievable.
Okay, let's keep our comments to ourselves at this point. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next agenda item. Youth and outreach.
Oh, Cheryl, can you put my motion?
I'm working. I'm sorry. I got
faster, lady. Or you'll be fired.
I'm working.
Okay. So the outreach committee, the only thing I'm going to really hit tonight, and we already talked about the outreach efforts we're making, is we've made a motion to oppose the current digital media communications policy. It's a very simple and concise declaration. Our main objections, as she's still struggling to pick it up, is that
there's more of this than that's on the agenda.
Yeah, you don't need to pull up my report. All I need is the CIS from the outreach committee.
CIS, all right.
Item 11 and E.
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Really hate. I didn't realize you wanted me to pull that up. I apologize.
Yeah, we feel that this is a violation of the First Amendment as written and is a little bit of an overreach on the part of Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and 11 pages of gobbledygook. But Chris is actually our, you can't find it?
I'm just confused. Hold on.
Chris, do you want to go ahead and start speaking on it, or do you need to have it up on the screen?
My issue is that it's also in Word, or am I pulling up the wrong thing? I can't find it.
I remember pretty much.
I can share the screen.
Now I
got
it. Yeah, just it's in Word, and I assume they're in PDF. So when they're in Word, it throws me for a little loop. And my computer and I are just not getting along.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, well, this effort by Dunn, which I guess kind of based on the AB 992, essentially would give the Department of Neighborhood Oversight, Empowerment, oversight over our personal online communications as it pertains to reference to neighborhood council business, to one another as board members, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems from the background that this was provoked by some misbehavior by board members elsewhere, and that rather than try and put out little fires, they wanted to create a wet blanket that would affect all of our ability to communicate. And essentially, in my own personal opinion, is an administrative exercise meant to keep things off their desk, and also for someone to be able to say, hey, look how well I ran this thing. It's a service that we didn't need or ask for. And I think most critically, aside from any sort of First Amendment issues, the protected speech or unprotected, depending on policy and law, is already covered by defamation and libel laws. It's already covered by terms of service for any of the social media platforms. So the behavior that they're looking to insulate themselves from and to kind of clamp down on is already thoroughly policed by the people who provide the media, as well as the law itself. And it doesn't seem to me that given the department's variable interest in our affairs, that is sometimes kind of overreaching and sometimes completely hands off, that they would do a better job than Facebook or Twitter at me making a rude comment or defaming someone or making a terrorist threat or whatever it happens to be. And I just think it's it doesn't provide any service to the neighborhood councils, which should be in the remit of the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. That is to help us do what we are here to do. We did not ask them to do this for us. It doesn't help us do what it is we need to do. And the liability aspect of things that we might publish about one another online or about anything is already more than handled by the administration of the platforms. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Chris. I know we're coming up on 9 o'clock, Ray. I don't have anything more to add to this and what Chris had to say.
Okay.
This is from committee?
Yes, it is.
So we're in discussion now? I see two hands raised. Let me see. One of them is Cynthia, and then we have another from attendee, which is Doug. Okay, Cynthia and then Doug. Cynthia, go ahead.
Lori, I have a question. Are they saying they want to have access to our computers, meaning that they would take all our emails and then pull out their emails that we
No.
write? Okay,
No.
okay.
Now, this would be for things that were essentially brought to their attention. They would have pre-existing rules that would allow them to essentially punish us for something that's been like, so if someone said, this person published something about me on Facebook, here it is, go get them.
They said they don't have the resources to police this. It would have to be based on a grievance.
Okay.
Doug?
Yeah, I just want to call a couple of things to your attention. And I think the second last, there's an extra also that should be removed. I caught that typo because I just came over from the North Hollywood Neighborhood Council, which just adopted this motion with only one no vote. So at least one other neighborhood council tonight has adopted this motion in front of you, and Coastal will be taking it up a week from tomorrow at its board meeting.
Okay, it looks like we have another hand on the panelist side. Thank you, Doug. Gwen?
Yes, does this potentially also stretch into our own personal opinions that we may have on our own Facebook presences?
Yes.
That's exactly what it means.
That's
Whether or
correct.
not you are participating as a board member, they would have essentially oversight of your communication.
And that, yeah, thank you. I
So
hope you all.
let me just say that AB 992 is a very long assembly bill. If you want to go through and dissect it, that's fine. To me, some of it is actually open for interpretation, Gwen, in answer to your question. Okay, it appears that they're saying what you can and cannot say on your personal social media in regards to neighborhood council business, but I don't know what you would define as neighborhood council business. If I put on my Facebook page, I don't like blah, blah, blah person, and they're a board member, is that neighborhood council business? Or, you know, so there's a lot of subjectivity to it.
Yeah, thank you. Oops.
Okay. So doesn't appear to be any more questions or comments. So Cheryl, would you call the vote?
Certainly. Rock? Rock?
Abstain.
Thank you. On?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Adrianita?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Cynthia, yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Right. Kelly?
Yes.
Alec?
Yes.
Ray?
I have to abstain.
Chris?
Yes.
And passes.
Ray, what do you want to do? We're at 9 o'clock.
Well, we have I would like to ask if, with your permission, if we can stay another 15 minutes so that we can get to planning and land use and possibly to sustainability.
I second that.
Does anybody have an objection? I guess would be the easiest way to approach that.
Well, I seconded the motion.
Okay.
Any discussion? No discussion.
There's an abstract.
Please just identify, just say yes or no. Let's hear it out.
You don't even have to roll call this, Ray. I don't believe.
No, it passes without objection.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
let's move on. Planning and land use, Diana.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. We have one item, everything else was done on the consent calendar tonight. The one item is Senate Bill 9, which is another effort by the state to take away local planning and control and it would require that the city provide for by right approval for dividing an existing single-family lot in half and then building 2 units on each portion without any environmental review. Thus, what is now 1 single-family home could become 4 homes. And with the ADU law, it's possible that could be 8 units without any public review and without any environmental review. It would also prohibit the city from requiring right-of-way dedications or other improvements, such as sidewalks, generally increasing the costs of the city should it need to acquire the right-of-way in the future. And it has no provisions at all for affordable housing. In fact, it probably would have the result of causing land values to go up. The city maintains lobbyists in both Sacramento and Washington, and the city council adopts a legislative platform to instruct their lobbyists on what positions to take at the state and federal level. So Councilmember Koretz has introduced a motion asking the city to include opposition to Senate Bill 9 in that platform. So RCIS would support Koretz's motion and then that would then ask the city to oppose Senate Bill 9. It was unanimous in committee.
Okay, out of committee, any discussion? Rock, you have.
I support the motion. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Any, I see no other hands up. Okay, Cheryl, can you call the vote, please?
Yep. Rock,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Adrianita,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
So
Okay, Diana, any other updates?
Yeah, just a couple briefly. 5 Pours, the wine and cheese boutique store that's proposed for Harbor Cove, received their approval from the city, and so they're hoping to be able to open by the end of March. A second thing is that at our last meeting, joint committee meeting, we heard from the separate Northwest meeting, we heard from the Port of Long Beach on their plans for an on-dock rail project near Anaheim and the 710 freeway. So if anyone's interested in that, I'd suggest they look at the notes from the Northwest Committee meeting. DOT is planning to add bulb outs and curbs on Gaffey, and the information on that's in the Joint Committee report. And the Joint Committee report also contains an update on a number of port-related projects and on the plans for the Caltrans Triangle at the foot of the freeway and updates on a number of other development projects. The next joint meeting is this Wednesday. The main agenda item is a plan from the USS Iowa for a Veterans Park, for which they are applying for state park funding. And then the next Northwest meeting is Wednesday, the 24th, where we will again be looking at the delivery tanker route for the proposed 7-Eleven remodel. This had to be put over from our January meeting because unfortunately the 7-Eleven representative had COVID. That's it.
Thank you, Diana.
Ray, I just want to thank Diana for having such clear and concise community impact statements that we're able to put most of them on our consent calendar. It saved quite a bit of time and allowed us to have a robust discussion on the public safety amendment. And if other chairs can think about doing that when possible, that would be great. Thank you.
Gwen, can please, we have we have like 8 minutes left to the 15 minutes that I asked for. Can you please step through your motions?
Yes. I kind of reviewed this on our last board meeting. It's simply two related CISs. on the studying of, I wish you had, yeah, it's very simple. We're supporting performing an inventory of the insurance policies and studying it with the intention of redirecting the the purchasing power towards insurers who are not heavily invested in fossil fuel industries. And once again, if you read the motion, you will see all of the reasons why. So that's the first one. It's simply supporting a study.
Okay.
As is the
hold on, Gwen. Let's just go to discussion.
It came out of your committee?
Yes, unanimous.
Any discussion? I see no hands raised. Cheryl, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Rock,
No. Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Adrianita,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia, Cynthia, come back. Ben,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Is Cynthia still here?
She is. She's muted.
No, I'll just clear
Yes,
her
sorry,
out.
I
Oh,
was muted.
that's okay. Okay. Okey-doke. Motion passed.
Okay, Gwen, your next CIS.
Once again, another related issue, supporting a study of the pension system for all city employees. Once again, fossil fuel industries that's a finite resource. There is concern that people will be left with unsound investments supporting their pensions. And so therefore they're looking at a study to see if this is truly the case.
Okay. Out of committee?
Yes.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah.
Who is I? Yeah. Okay, Rock.
Rock Aya, it's my new middle name.
All right, Aya.
I'm sorry, I just have to say, I find this misguided energy. If you want to stop making money or have people, they should have the ability to invest as they want to. Pension companies sort of know what they're doing. Things go up and down. I think us directing them how to invest is sort of short-sighted. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Rock. Cynthia?
I actually was going to say the same thing Brock said.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Lori?
Yeah, I just want to say that all this asks for is a motion to study it. That's all. I think we should support anytime they're doing research and studying it. It's no action other than that, the way I see it.
Okay, thank you. Braun?
Yeah, this board doesn't seem to have any problem offering opinions on things it doesn't understand. So I don't see the issue there. It is just a study.
Okay. I see another hand that popped up. Whose is that?
That would be me.
Who's that?
Chris.
That's me, Chris.
Oh, it's Chris. Okay, Chris.
Just briefly, yeah. I would support it from terms of research. Like I would tend to agree with Rock that these investment firms know a good bet. On the other hand, there's it's in the public interest that if there's an emerging technology, i.e., anything that isn't traditionally established, maybe there's the potential to strengthen these things going forward. The research is what would tell you if that's true or not.
And pensions have failed before.
They do all the time.
Let's, I see no other hands up. So let's go for the vote count, please. Cheryl?
Brock,
No.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Trianita,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
No.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we have less than 2 minutes left, and we have Community Issues Committee. Any comment there? Or can we move on?
I just got a couple of things to say. It'll take me maybe less than a minute. Just an FYI, we had Andy Harris at the meeting, and they went around and he gathered about 30 people, including kids, and they cleaned out the whole skate park area. They also painted all the graffiti poles and all that. It looks really good. And second thing, I got a message from Axel today. It says, good news, the transfer of jurisdiction was approved by the council last week. We are in process of working on the lease agreement with the Skate Park Association and planning on the repair schedule. So we're good. So the skate park belongs to us now again.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is that the end of your report?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you, John. Okay, the Christensen Science Center, Chris, anything?
Sorry. No, I have not been, other than just a couple of emails. No real progress. Essentially, the program is, in limbo, as is the rest of those satellite programs.
Okay, we have one hand up. Victor, if you can please make your comments as quickly as possible. We are at our time.
It's quick. As has happened in the past, water's been left on, lights have been left on, that sort of thing. So we are considering, the committee is considering, and that being the Community Issues Committee, is considering writing a letter for getting to the LAUSD, trying to get them to take care of the problems they've been having. So that should hopefully come up, if things go through as expected, at the next board meeting here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Victor. Okay, we are at our limit. We have, I'd like to just say that I appreciate all the conversation that we had. It was a tough one for us. So let's go ahead and call this meeting to adjourn. And we're going to meet again on March 8th. And please, everybody, for the next weeks until you get your vaccines, stay safe. Thank you.
So I can
Let's
start
adjourn-
watching The
adjourn-
Bachelor
Happy
now?
birthday, Gwen.
Yeah, adjourn in honor of Gwen's birthday, and good luck to Cheryl.
Take care, guys. Yes, absolutely.
So much. Good night.
All right.
Night.
That's your last
Good
good
night,
night,
everybody.
Cheryl.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, adjourn.